The waitress had just set down my coconut cream pie when my daughter told me I was too old to make my own decisions. She didn't raise her voice. Dana never raised her voice when she wanted to make sure everyone heard her. "Dad, you're too old to decide something like this by yourself." Her hand came across the white tablecloth and covered mine. Warm, firm, final. The same hand that had steadied my elbow after hip surgery. The same hand that had once washed my hair over the kitchen sink because I couldn't get into the shower. Her husband, Mark, looked down into his coffee. My son, Nathan, stopped pretending to read the dessert menu. There were 71 candles waiting on a sheet cake back at my house, but suddenly everyone at that table seemed to think I was 5. I slid my hand out from under Dana's, picked up my fork, and took a bite of pie. Dana blinked. "Did you hear me?" I swallowed. The pie was good. Real whipped cream, toasted coconut, crust that cracked cleanly under the fork. I had been coming to Bellini's since before Nathan was old enough to mispronounce spaghetti, and I wasn't going to let anybody ruin the one thing I'd been looking forward to all evening. "I heard you," I said. Then I finished dessert. 10 minutes earlier, everything had still been ordinary. Mark had been telling a story about a man at his office who had replied to the entire company instead of one person. Dana was correcting details even though she did not work at Mark's office. Nathan kept checking his phone under the table. Every time it lit up, his face did something small and painful before he turned it over again. I'd known for 3 days that Corinne wasn't answering him. Nathan and Corinne had been married for 19 years. She was a patient woman, which was not the same as being a quiet one. She could make a whole kitchen understand her position by closing a cabinet door half an inch harder than necessary. I liked her. More importantly, I respected her. And those two things had survived even when she and Nathan stopped being able to sit through dinner without drawing blood from old wounds. On Tuesday, Nathan had shown up at my house with red eyes and no coat. It was 43 degrees outside. "Corinne wants space," he said. We were standing in my kitchen. I was holding a jar of pickles I couldn't open, though I had been trying long enough to leave a red ring around my palm. "How much space?" He stared at the floor. "Nathan, she wants me out." I put the jar down. "That's not space. That's an address." He laughed once, but there wasn't any humor in it. Nathan had always been able to smile during a house fire and make you feel rude for mentioning the smoke. At 44, he still had the loose, friendly face of the 20-year-old who used to borrow my truck and return it with a new dent and a better story. His hair had gone gray first at the temples, which made strangers trust him faster than they should. "I need somewhere to stay," he said. "Just for a little while." A little while was Nathan's favorite unit of time. It had covered everything from 3 nights to 11 months. I leaned against the counter. My hip had started aching whenever rain moved in, and the weather report said we'd have storms by Friday. "What happened?" "The marriage happened. That's not an answer." "We've been having problems." "I know." His eyes came up. "How would you know?" "Corinne stopped putting your name on birthday cards. That got a real laugh out of him. Brief, unwilling, but real." He sat at my kitchen table, where one of the chairs still had a pale scratch from the time he'd dragged a toolbox across it 26 years earlier. I had meant to sand it out. Eventually, the scratch became part of the table, and the toolbox became one more thing Nathan had borrowed and never returned. He rubbed both hands over his face. "I'm not asking you to take sides." "Good. I'm retired from taking sides. You were never very good at it." There was enough truth in that to keep me quiet. He looked around the kitchen, the fruit bowl, the grocery list, held to the refrigerator by a magnet shaped like a trout. The pill organizer Dana had bought after my surgery, even though I took exactly 2 pills a day and had never once confused Tuesday with Thursday. "I could stay in the spare room," Nathan said. "Maybe 6 weeks. 8. He frowned. "What?" "I'll give you 8 weeks, not a little while." 8 weeks with an end date. Relief changed his whole posture. It happened too quickly, like he had walked into the house already knowing I'd say yes. "Dad, thank you. I haven't finished." He sat back. "You clean up after yourself. You buy groceries. You cook twice a week. I can cook. Toast doesn't count. I make eggs. Eggs count once." He almost smiled. "You don't borrow the truck without asking. You don't put me between you and Corinne, and you don't put me between you and Dana." At Dana's name, his mouth tightened. "I wasn't planning to." "Good. Are you going to tell her?" "I'm going to tell her I made a decision about my house." Nathan looked toward the pickle jar on the counter. You want me to open that? No. I made him open it. I had planned to tell Dana privately, but she gave me no private moment. She arrived at Bellini's before I did, had my coat taken from me before I reached the table, and told the waitress I shouldn't have wine with my medication. I'm not taking pain medication anymore, I said. Dana was arranging the silverware around her plate. You take the blood pressure pill. If wine interfered with blood pressure pills, Italy would be empty. Mark coughed into his napkin. Nathan looked like he wanted to applaud. Dana gave me the patient smile she had developed during my recovery. 1 glass, she told the waitress. The waitress looked at me. 2, I said. That was the mood before the appetizers. Dana had organized the dinner, of course. She made the reservation, chose the time, reminded all of us twice, and brought a gift bag filled with things I had not requested. Non-slip socks, a new flashlight, a large print road atlas, and a grabber tool for picking objects off the floor. I held up the grabber. Is there something you want to tell me? It's useful. I have one of these. That one is old. It's a stick with a claw, Dana. It hasn't become outdated. Mark laughed, then turned the laugh into a cough when she looked at him. She had also bought me a lightweight vacuum cleaner. It was in their car because she didn't want me carrying it. 6 months earlier, I might have found all of that sweet. 6 months earlier, I was still using a walker and wearing the same gray sweatpants 3 days in a row because changing clothes required the kind of planning normally reserved for military landings. Dana had taken a leave from work. She drove me to physical therapy. She labeled containers in my freezer and put clean sheets on my bed. The first night after surgery, I tried to make it to the bathroom alone and nearly went down in the hallway. Dana caught me under the arms. I weighed 200 pounds. She weighed maybe 140. Somehow, she held on. She cried afterward, but only after she got me seated. I never forgot that. Dana never let me. By the time the entrees arrived, Nathan had consumed enough iced tea to require 3 trips to the restroom. He always left when conversation came near him. I waited until he returned from the 3rd trip. Nathan's going to stay with me for 8 weeks, I said. Mark's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. Dana did not move at all. Nathan sat down carefully. It's temporary. Why? Dana asked. 1 word. Flat as a cutting board. Corinne and I are separating. You and Corinne are always separating. This is different. Because she changed the locks? Nathan's face reddened. I looked at Dana. Did she? Corinne called me. Of course she did, Nathan said. Dana turned toward him. She wanted to know if you were alive. You stopped answering your phone. I needed some time. You always need time after you run out of other people's patience. Dana, I said. She looked at me, and her expression softened instantly. That bothered me more than if she had stayed angry. Dad, you can't have him living with you. I can. You're still recovering. I recovered. You're not fully recovered. My surgeon says I am. Your surgeon doesn't know Nathan. Nathan threw his napkin beside his plate. I'm sitting right here. Yes, Dana said. That's usually how this starts. Mark touched her wrist. She pulled away without looking at him. I told her Nathan and I had agreed on conditions. I told her there was an exact date on the calendar. I even told her about the cooking, though hearing it aloud made the arrangement sound like a summer camp run by a tired parole officer. Dana listened with her lips pressed together. Then she said it, too old to decide. By the time I put down my dessert fork, the whipped cream had melted into a white smear on the plate. Dana stared at me. Are you seriously not going to respond? I did respond. You ate pie. It was my pie. This isn't funny. No, it isn't. The waitress appeared with the bill and sensed the weather at our table. She set it near Mark and escaped. Dana reached for it. I got there first. Dad, let Mark. It's my birthday. That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't have to. I'm old. Nathan snorted. Dana shot him a look sharp enough to peel paint. Outside, the parking lot was wet, reflecting the red Bellini's sign in broken pieces. Mark and Nathan went ahead. Dana caught my sleeve beside my truck. I'm trying to protect you. I know. He uses you. He has. And you let him. I have. She seemed thrown by the answers. She had come prepared to knock down a defense, not stand in front of an open door. You're going to get hurt, she said. Probably. Why would you do this? Because he asked, and I decided to give him 8 weeks. That's not a reason. It's the one I have. Her face changed then. For a second, she wasn't the woman who organized my prescriptions and corrected waitresses. She was my daughter, furious and frightened, and tired of being the only person in the family who remembered what things cost. "You always do this," she said. Before I could ask what she meant, she walked away. The next morning, Nathan arrived at 9 with his car packed to the roof and a rented trailer behind it. I stood on the porch in my robe, holding a cup of coffee. 8 weeks? I called. He got out and looked back at the trailer. I brought options. The trailer contained 12 boxes, 2 lamps, golf clubs, a television larger than my dining room window, and an exercise bicycle still being used as a clothes rack. We had unloaded exactly 1 box when Dana's car turned into my driveway. She parked crooked, got out, and marched toward the house with the spare key I had given her during my surgery already in her hand. Nathan looked at me, I looked at the key. Dana reached my front door before either of us said a word. Dana put the key into the lock even though the door was already open. I watched her turn it, push, and stop when the door moved away from her. "Good morning," I said. She looked at me on the porch, then at Nathan, then at the trailer. "What is that?" "A trailer," Nathan said. "I know what a trailer is." "That saves time. Don't start with me." I said 4 words. I stepped between them before Nathan could make it 5. Dana held up a paper sack. "I brought breakfast." "You brought breakfast at 9 in the morning without calling?" "I've never had to call." She said it lightly, but I saw her thumb close over the spare key. Nathan picked up his box and carried it inside. The bottom sagged as he went through the doorway. Dana watched him. "What's in there?" "Books," he said. "You don't own that many books. Some are very thin." The box tore open in the hallway. 3 books fell out along with a blender, 2 extension cords, a framed photograph of Corinne, and a ceramic rooster with 1 missing foot. Dana looked at the pile. 8 weeks. "I know what 8 weeks is," Nathan said. "You thought a trailer was appropriate? The television wouldn't fit in my car. There's already a television here. Dad's television has a tube in the back." "My television works," I said. They both ignored me. Dana carried the breakfast sack to the kitchen and began taking out containers. Biscuits, scrambled eggs, sliced melon, turkey sausage. Enough food for 6 people or 3 Mercers with something to avoid discussing. I followed her in. "What made you come over?" I asked. "It's Saturday. That doesn't answer the question. I often bring you breakfast on Saturday." She did. Sometimes, usually after calling. She opened my refrigerator and moved things around to make room for the containers. Dana never placed anything in a refrigerator without first expressing disapproval of the current arrangement. "How old is this chicken?" "I don't know." "Did you cook it?" "No, Dana. It wandered in and died." She sniffed it. "It's fine." "That's what I thought." "You just said you didn't know." "I wanted to see what you'd do." She turned slowly. "You tested me with chicken?" "I'm 71. I have to find my funds somewhere." Behind us, something heavy struck the living room wall. Dana closed her eyes. "I'll fix it," Nathan called. "You said that before it hit the wall," she called back. Positive thinking. Dana lowered her voice. "This is what you want in your house?" "I didn't say I wanted the television. You know what I mean?" "Yes." That answer held her for a second. She put the chicken back, though not on the shelf where she found it. Corinne said, "He hasn't been going to work." Nathan appeared in the doorway. "Corinne talks too much." "So you haven't?" "I'm taking personal time." "Did your employer call it personal time?" "Why would you know anything about my employer?" "Because your wife called me." "Estranged wife. You've been estranged for 4 days. Do you have a minimum?" I put my coffee down. "Nathan, unload your things. I was trying to eat." "You weren't." He looked at the containers on the counter, then at me. "Can I have a biscuit?" "Yes." Dana snapped the lid back on. "These are for Dad." "You brought 14. 13. You counted?" "I bought them." I opened the container and handed Nathan a biscuit. He took it with the solemn gratitude of a man receiving his last meal. "Outside," I said. He went. Dana waited until the front door shut. "You don't know everything that happened. Neither do you. I know more than you. Then you're ahead." She braced both palms on the counter. Corinne found overdue bills stuffed in his desk. I felt something in me tighten, but I kept my face still. "They're bills?" "Yes." "Then they'll handle them." She found them after the electricity was almost shut off. "Dana, I'm telling you, he's not in some sad, temporary misunderstanding. He's been lying. Did he steal anything? No. Did he hurt Corinne? Not with his hands, if that's the standard. It isn't. She looked toward the hallway, checking that Nathan had gone back outside. He stopped showing up, she said. That's how Corinne put it. He lived in the same house, and he stopped showing up for their life. He'd go to work, come home, sit in the garage, and watch videos on his phone until she went to bed. It sounded possible. More than possible. Nathan could make withdrawal look like patience. He could sit quietly while everyone else exhausted themselves trying to reach him, then complain they were pressuring him. I'll talk to him, I said. You'll talk. He'll look ashamed. You'll decide shame is the same as change. I picked up my coffee again, though it had gone cool. Dana's voice softened. Dad, you don't have to do this to prove something. I'm not proving anything. You finished your pie like you were Gandhi? That was pie, not civil disobedience. Despite herself, the corner of her mouth moved. I almost took advantage of it. I almost told her that I understood, promised I would keep her informed, and asked her to help me make a better list of rules. That was how we worked. Dana pressed. I joked. Then I gave her enough authority to make the pressing stop. Instead, I said, if there's something I need to know about Nathan, tell me, but the arrangement stands. The corner of her mouth disappeared. She looked around the kitchen as if it too had disappointed her. Her gaze landed on the wall calendar beside the pantry. Where is it? Where's what? The end date. I pointed to a square 8 weeks away. I had circled it in blue ink and written Nathan out beneath it. Dana walked over and touched the square. You did this yesterday? Tuesday. You'd already agreed before dinner. Yes. And you invited us all to a restaurant before telling me. It was my birthday dinner. That isn't what I asked. No. I didn't invite you there to announce it. I told you there because I couldn't get you alone. You could have called me. I didn't need your permission. Her hand dropped from the calendar. Of course not, she said. The words were correct. The voice was not. She took the spare key from her pocket, turned it over once in her fingers, and set it on the counter. I didn't ask for that, I said. You don't want me coming in. I asked why you didn't call. Same difference. No, it isn't. To you. She picked up her purse. Leave the key, I said. Dana stopped. It surprised both of us. I could see the little brass key between the salt shaker and the container of biscuits. I remembered the afternoon I had given it to her. She'd tied a blue rubber cap over the top so she could tell it from her other keys. At the time, standing upright had made me sweat. I had told her to let herself in whenever she needed. Now I said, leave it for emergencies. What qualifies as an emergency? I trust you to know. She gave a short laugh. Apparently you don't trust my judgment. I trust it. I'm asking you to stop substituting it for mine. Nathan came through the back door carrying one end of the exercise bicycle. I could use help, he said. Dana stared at the bicycle. A blue dress shirt was still hanging from one handlebar. Is that Corinne's? Nathan looked at it. Maybe. You brought one of her shirts? It was on the bike, so you packed it. I packed the bike. You transported the shirt across town on exercise equipment, but you're not sure if it belongs to your wife? Nathan shifted his grip. This thing is heavier than it looks. Dana pulled the shirt off the handlebar and folded it against her body. You should call her. She doesn't want to talk. She wants her things. It's one shirt. It's never one thing with you. Nathan let his end of the bicycle drop. The metal foot struck my kitchen floor with a sharp crack. Enough, I said. They both stopped. I pointed at Nathan. Take the bicycle back outside. Dad, it's not staying in the kitchen. I wasn't going to leave it in the kitchen. You are right now. His jaw moved, but he picked it up. I looked at Dana. Put the shirt on the counter. I'll take it to Corinne. That puts you in the middle. I'm already in the middle. Then step out. For a moment, nobody moved. Dana laid the folded shirt beside the biscuits. The soft blue fabric looked strangely intimate there among the breakfast containers. She took her purse and walked out without picking up the key. I heard Mark's car start less than a minute later. She had driven his car, not hers. That meant Mark was home without transportation, unless he'd finally bought the motorcycle he talked about whenever Dana wasn't around. Nathan returned through the back door alone. Where do you want the bike? Back in the trailer. I use it. No, you don't. I was going to start. You can start 8 weeks from now. He looked at the folded shirt. Did she leave? Yes. Mad? Yes. He took a biscuit. What? You could try looking less pleased. I'm not pleased. You're chewing like you are. He swallowed. She hates me. She doesn't hate you. She came here to stop me from moving in. She came here because she's afraid I'll make your life easier. His expression changed. That one found its mark. I opened the container of eggs and put a spoonful on a plate. Nathan leaned against the counter. Did Corinne tell her about the bills? Yes. He looked down. How bad? I asked. They're handled. That wasn't my question. Nothing got shut off. Because Corinne found them? He rubbed a thumb through the crumbs on the counter. I got behind. You go to work every day, most days. Nathan, he pushed away from the counter. Can we not do this right now? My entire life is in a trailer, my wife won't speak to me, and Dana showed up before I even got a box upstairs. You brought the trailer. Corinne chose not to speak to you. Dana shows up everywhere. That last one isn't my fault. No, but you enjoyed it. He looked toward the door Dana had gone through. Maybe a little. Put the bicycle back. He took another biscuit before going outside. By noon, the spare room had vanished beneath Nathan's life. Boxes blocked the closet. The huge television leaned against the dresser. The ceramic rooster stood on the windowsill as if it had survived something. We carried the last box upstairs together. Mine was light, but halfway down the hall, my hip caught with a deep electric pinch. I stopped. Nathan noticed. You okay? Yes, I've got it. I said I'm fine. He set his box down anyway and took mine from my hands. His face held no smirk, no performance. Just concern. For one dangerous second, I understood exactly why Dana had become so certain she knew what was best for me. Then Nathan glanced back at the open bedroom door. 8 weeks is more of a target than a deadline, right? No, just checking. He carried the box inside, and I went downstairs to move Dana's key from the counter. It wasn't there. I checked beneath the mail, behind the biscuit container, and on the floor. The key was gone. Nathan came downstairs carrying Corinne's blue shirt by one sleeve. Did you move Dana's key? No, it was on the counter. Maybe it got tired of being in the middle. I held out my hand for the shirt. Did you move it? No. Why would I want Dana to have a key to this house? So she has it. He glanced at the empty spot beside the salt shaker. She must have grabbed it when we were bringing in the bike. I told her to leave it. You also told her to use it for emergencies. That's not the same thing. To Dana, an unlocked cabinet is an emergency. I took out my phone. Nathan draped the shirt across a chair. What are you going to say? I'm going to ask if she took the key. She'll say yes. Then I'll ask her to bring it back. She'll say no. Do you charge for this service? I'm just saving you time. Dana didn't answer my call. She did respond to the text I sent after. I have the key. You said it was for emergencies. I typed. I said, leave it. 3 dots appeared, vanished, then returned. It has to be with me if I'm going to use it. The logic was irritating because it was not entirely wrong. I stared at the screen long enough for Nathan to lean over my shoulder. You need a bigger font, he said. I can read it. I can read it from here. Get away from me, I typed. Call before you come over. Dana's answer took almost a minute. Fine. There was a period after it. Dana used periods the way other people use slammed doors. Nathan read that one too. You're in trouble. You're the one living in my spare room. He held up both hands and backed away. We spent the rest of the morning fitting too much of his life into too little house. The television went in the spare room after Nathan promised not to bolt it to anything. The golf clubs went into the hall closet, displacing 2 winter coats and a folding chair. I made him return the exercise bicycle to the trailer. He argued that leaving expensive equipment outside was irresponsible. It's been holding clothes for 6 years, I said. It can handle weather. You don't know what I paid for it. You don't know what you paid for it. That's not the point. The trailer stayed in my driveway because Nathan said he needed to return it Monday. I told him Monday was not a season. He promised Monday afternoon. By 5, my house smelled like cardboard, dust, and the pepperoni pizza Nathan ordered after remembering he was supposed to cook. Ordering isn't cooking, I said. It required several decisions. The phone made most of them. I chose mushrooms. You've lived here 8 hours and already broken a rule. He put 2 slices on my plate. You're welcome. We ate in the living room. Nathan had connected his television before unpacking his toothbrush, so the local news anchor now had a face nearly the size of mine. We watched without listening. After a while, Nathan said, You didn't tell Dana about the bills before dinner? I didn't know. Corinne shouldn't have called her. She was worried. She wanted backup. Those things can happen together. He pulled the cheese off the edge of his pizza and rolled it between his fingers. Everybody talks about me like I'm a situation. You arrived with a trailer. You know what I mean. I did. Nathan had been 9 when one of his teachers wrote on a report card that he had difficulty applying himself consistently. Dana, 3 years older, read that sentence over his shoulder and laughed until she cried. For years afterward, whenever Nathan forgot a chore or lost a jacket, she said he was having trouble applying himself consistently. He hated it. He also gave her plenty of material. You want people to talk differently about you, I said. Give them something different to talk about. That sounds like a refrigerator magnet. Dana probably has one for me. He smiled, then his phone lit up on the coffee table. Corinne. He watched it ring. Aren't you going to answer? No. Why? She'll just be angry. She's already angry. Exactly. The call stopped. A second later, a message appeared. Nathan turned the phone face down. What does she want? I asked. If I knew, I wouldn't need to read it. You did read it, not technically. I picked up my pizza. He lasted maybe 30 seconds. She wants the blue shirt, he said. It's on the chair. I told her. Is she coming? He didn't answer. The doorbell rang 20 minutes later. Nathan stayed on the couch. I muted the television. Get the door. You get it. It's your wife. It's your house. I looked at him. He got up. Corinne stood on my porch in a red raincoat with water shining on her shoulders. Her dark hair was pulled into a low knot, and she had the exhausted, carefully arranged face of someone who had cried earlier and did not plan to do it again. Hi, Ellis. Come in. I only need my shirt. Nathan reached behind the kitchen chair, picked it up, and held it toward her. She took it without touching his hand. For a moment, the three of us stood in the entryway while rain tapped against the metal trailer. Corinne looked past Nathan. You brought the rooster. I like the rooster. You called it the ugliest thing I ever bought. I was joking. You broke its foot trying to throw it away. I was moving it. You were moving it toward the trash. Nathan's mouth opened. I said, I have glue. Corinne laughed. It escaped before she could stop it. Nathan smiled at the sound, but her face closed when she saw him. Did you read my other messages? She asked. Not yet. Of course. I've been moving. You've been not reading them since Thursday. I said I'll deal with everything. No. You said everything is handled. That's what you say when you want me to stop asking. Can we not do this in Dad's hallway? You made his hallway the place I have to find you. Nathan turned toward me. It was automatic. A glance that asked me to soften the room. I stepped back. He looked at Corinne again. I need time. You've had time. Time is the only thing you've taken without being asked. Corinne. I'm not here to fight. You came with a speech ready. I came for my shirt. You have 12 blue shirts. I have 11. You packed one. The argument might have been funny if her voice hadn't cracked on the last word. Nathan saw it. He looked down. Corinne folded the shirt over her arm. I sent you a list of the accounts that need your attention. Not mine. Yours. I'm not asking your father to fix them, and I'm not asking your sister. Good, I said. They both turned to me. I'm not fixing them, I added. Corinne nodded once. Thank you. Nathan looked wounded. Nobody asked you to? I'm getting ahead. That seems popular today. Corinne reached for the door. Wait, Nathan said. She stopped but did not face him. I'm sorry, it was a clean apology. No explanation attached. He sounded more like himself than he had all day. Corinne's shoulders lowered a fraction. Then he said, But you didn't have to change the locks. They went right back up. She opened the door. Good night, Ellis. The rain swallowed her before Nathan could improve things. He shut the door harder than necessary. You couldn't leave it alone? I asked. I said I was sorry. You added a receipt. What was I supposed to do? Let the apology sit there. She changed the locks. You noticed? He walked back into the living room and turned up the television. I let him. That was harder than it sounds. The old version of me would have followed. I would have sat in the chair across from him and explained Corinne's position until he agreed, or explained Nathan's position to Corinne on the phone until she became too tired to argue. Then I would have called Dana and told her everyone needed to calm down. I had spent years confusing mediation with usefulness. Sometimes all I did was spread the same problem across more people. I took my plate to the kitchen instead. Nathan slept past 11 the next morning. I heard his phone alarm at 7, then 7:10, 7:20, and 7:45. At 8, it played a song with a heavy drum beat for nearly 2 minutes before silence returned. I made coffee for 1. At 9, I scrambled 2 eggs and ate them at the kitchen table. At 10, I read the Sunday paper. At 11, I heard the guest room door open. Nathan came downstairs wearing sweatpants and 1 sock. "Why didn't you wake me? Were we going somewhere?" He opened the refrigerator. "I have things to do." "Then you should have gotten up." He stared into the refrigerator, as if hoping responsibility might be behind the orange juice. "Did Dana bring bacon?" "No. She brought every other breakfast food. She took the biscuits." "What?" "When she left." "All 13? She bought them." He shut the refrigerator. That was personal. The doorbell rang. Nathan looked at me. "Corinne? She has a key to the bell." "Could be anybody." It was Mark. He stood on the porch holding the vacuum cleaner Dana had bought me for my birthday. "Delivery," he said. "You missed your calling." "I work in insurance, Ellis." Almost anything would have been my calling. I let him in. He carried the box to the living room and set it beside Nathan's television. Nathan came around the corner, still wearing 1 sock. Mark looked at him. "You look settled." "I'm in transition." "Your other sock already transition?" Nathan went upstairs. Mark watched him leave, then lowered his voice. "She doesn't know I'm here? You stole my vacuum?" "She sent me to return a sweater." I took a side trip. He glanced toward the kitchen. "Did she leave the key?" "She took it." "I know." "Then why'd you ask?" "I wanted to know what she told you." "That it was for emergencies." Mark rubbed a hand over his jaw. "She was up half the night." "Because Nathan moved in?" "Because you let him." That sounds like the same thing. To her, it isn't. He sat on the arm of my chair. "She thinks you chose him again," he said. There it was, the same word Dana had used in the parking lot. Again. I looked toward the wall calendar in the kitchen. From where I stood, I could just see the blue circle 8 weeks away. I didn't choose anybody. Mark gave me a tired smile. "That," he said, "is exactly what she says you always tell yourself." I didn't like Mark saying it because I could hear Dana's voice inside the sentence. "I gave Nathan a room," I said. "I didn't hand him the rest of my life." Mark looked toward the stairs, where a floorboard creaked. "Dana doesn't separate those things." "Maybe she should." "Probably." I expected him to defend her. Instead, he rubbed his eyes. "Your daughter has 3 settings," he said. Handle it harder, and wonder why nobody else is helping. That sounds rehearsed. I've been married to her for 17 years, and you're telling me this because if I tell her, she reorganizes my garage." That made me laugh. Mark smiled, but it didn't last. "She was scared when you had surgery, Ellis." "I know. No, I mean scared, not worried. She thought you were going to fall, hit your head, lie there for 2 days, and be found by somebody delivering a coupon booklet. I had a phone. You left it in the bathroom twice. Once. Twice. I remember one. That's her case right there." He got up and walked to the window. The rain had stopped, but Nathan's trailer sat in the driveway collecting drops from the maple tree. "She started sleeping with her phone under her pillow," Mark said. "Every noise woke her up. If you didn't answer by the 4th ring, she was already putting on her shoes. I never called her at night. You didn't have to. She imagined it." I looked at the vacuum box. Dana had chosen the model with the widest handle and the lightest body. There was a picture of a smiling silver-haired man using it with 1 hand. He looked delighted by crumbs. Mark turned around. "Then you got better," he said. "But she didn't. That doesn't give her the right to talk to me like I'm incapable. I didn't say it did. You came over here to say something. I came over because she won't." The floorboard creaked again. Mark lowered his voice. "When you let Nathan stay, she didn't hear 8 weeks. She heard every time you asked her to be patient with him, every time you said he was under pressure, or having a rough patch, or needed another chance. That was years ago. She has a long memory. So do I. Do you?" The question irritated me enough that I stood. Mark did too. "I'm not trying to pick a fight. You're doing good work by accident." He nodded like he had earned that. I walked him to the door. Before he stepped outside, he turned back. "She loves you. I know. She's furious because she loves you. That doesn't make the fury correct." "No." He put his hands into his coat pockets. "But it does make it expensive." After he left, Nathan came down wearing both socks. "How much of that did you hear?" I asked. "Not much." You were on the fourth stair. It squeaks. So? So, I didn't want to interrupt. You stood there for 15 minutes to avoid interrupting? He opened the vacuum box. This looks nice. Dana picked it. She researched it. You know that? She sent me 3 links last month and asked which one would be easiest for you. I stared at him. What did you say? That you already had a vacuum. I do. She said, the old one was too heavy. It is a vacuum. It weighs vacuum. Nathan lifted the new machine out with one hand. This one weighs less vacuum. He plugged it in before I could stop him and ran it across the rug. The motor made a low hum instead of the mechanical howl my old one produced. That's disturbingly quiet, I said. It has headlights. The front of the vacuum lit up, exposing enough dust beneath my coffee table to damage a man's self-respect. Nathan looked at me. We don't need to tell her. He vacuumed the whole living room. It was the first useful thing he did without being asked. On Monday morning, the trailer was still in my driveway. At noon, it remained there. At 4:15, I found Nathan on the couch in sweatpants, watching 2 men restore an old fishing boat. When does the rental place close? I asked. 5, it's 4:15. I know. You planning to return that trailer through thought? He paused the television. I'll do it tomorrow. You said Monday. It is Monday. Then we agree. I'm tired. From what? He looked offended. I've had an emotionally difficult weekend. So is the trailer. He stared at me for a few seconds, waiting for the older, softer version of me to appear. When I didn't, he pushed himself up. Fine. And the bicycle goes with it. I told you, I use that. You haven't touched it. It's in the trailer. Exactly. 20 minutes later, he was backing out of the driveway. He had to correct himself 6 times. On the 3rd attempt, he nearly took out my mailbox. I stood in the yard directing him. Other way, I called. I know. The trailer doesn't. My neighbor Leonard watched from across the street with his arms folded. Leonard was 76 and treated any difficult parking job as free theater. Want me to do it? He shouted. No, Nathan and I said together. When Nathan finally reached the street, Leonard clapped. Nathan made a gesture I pretended not to see. He returned an hour later without the trailer or the exercise bicycle. I left the dress shirt in it, he said. Corinne took the shirt. Right. You were standing there. It's been a long weekend. That night was Nathan's first official cooking night. He made tacos. Or he heated ground beef and arranged ingredients near tortillas. The meat tasted mostly of salt and one aggressive spice. What is that? I asked. Cumin. How much did you use? The recipe said a teaspoon. This tastes like the lid came off. The lid came off. We ate anyway. Nathan sat across from me, holding his taco over his plate with both hands. The shell split down the bottom. Meat fell out onto his shirt. Dana would have brought napkins, he said. There are napkins behind you, cloth ones. Those are the kind people used before paper. He took one and tucked it into his collar. Do you think she's going to stay mad? Yes. At me or you? Yes. He nodded. Fair. His phone buzzed on the table. He checked it and put it down. Corinne? I asked. No. You always answer when it isn't Corinne. He took another bite. What does she want? For me to call the electric company, then call. I will. When? Tomorrow. I pointed at the wall clock. It's 7:30. They're closed. The customer service number isn't. How would you know? I've paid electricity before. He glared at me, but he got up and made the call from the kitchen. I could hear the recorded menu asking him to press numbers. Twice he swore at it. The 3rd time, he reached a person and lowered his voice into the calm, capable tone he had always used with strangers. The problem took 12 minutes. When he came back, I asked, Handled? Yes. Actually? He held up the confirmation number he had written on the back of an envelope. Actually? Good. He waited for more. Praise, maybe. A speech about fresh starts. I picked up my taco. Nathan sat down slowly. That's it? What else? I don't know. Neither do I. He smiled despite himself. Wednesday afternoon, I used the new vacuum upstairs. I would not have admitted it to Dana, but the headlights were useful. They revealed an alarming amount of dust along the baseboard in the guest room. Nathan was asleep on top of the comforter at 2 in the afternoon, one arm over his face. I vacuumed around the bed. He lifted his head. Seriously, You were warned by headlights. I didn't sleep last night. What kept you up? He dropped back onto the pillow, thinking, try it before noon. I finished the hallway, put the vacuum in the linen closet, and went downstairs. Dana was standing in my kitchen. The back door was open behind her. 2 grocery bags sat on the counter, and she had the old chicken in one hand. I stopped on the last stair. She looked over. I called 3 times. I was vacuuming. I knocked. The vacuum is quiet, not silent. You didn't answer, so you used the key. I was worried. After how long? She checked her phone. 22 minutes. I looked at the chicken. What are you doing? This is still here. It's been 2 days. It was already old on Saturday. You said it was fine. I said it smelled fine. That is the accepted test. Dad, food can go bad before it smells. She dropped the container into the trash. I took it back out. Her eyes widened. What are you doing? Keeping my lunch. That chicken could make you sick. So could those tacos Nathan cooked. I heard that, he called from upstairs. Dana looked at the ceiling. He's home? He lives here. I mean, in the middle of the afternoon. I put the chicken back in the refrigerator. You need to call before you come over. I did. You need to wait for me to answer. What if you can't? Then use the key. That's what I did. After 22 minutes, you could have fallen. I didn't. But you could have. And you could have been in a car accident driving over here. That's ridiculous. Why? Because I wasn't. I waited. She heard it. Her face tightened. I brought groceries. I didn't ask for groceries. I noticed. She started taking things from the bags. Yogurt, bananas, a loaf of wheat bread, soup, the coffee I liked. I put each item back as she removed it. Stop, she said. I have food. You have questionable chicken and taco ingredients. I can shop. You haven't. I was busy. Doing what? Living in my house. She went still. The sentence sounded crueler after it left me. This had been her house once, too. She knew which cabinet stuck in humid weather and where I kept the birthday candles. There was still a faint notch on the pantry doorframe from the year she insisted on measuring herself every month, long after she had stopped growing. She took the key from her pocket and set it on the counter. You gave this to me, she said. I know. You told me to come whenever you needed help. I needed help then. So everything I did has an expiration date? No, my gratitude doesn't. Your authority does. Her eyes shone, but her voice stayed level. I lifted you off the bathroom floor. I remember. I cleaned you when you couldn't clean yourself. I remember that too. I slept in that chair because you were afraid to be alone. I looked toward the living room. The recliner was empty, the rug beneath it newly vacuumed. I'm grateful, I said. I will be grateful for the rest of my life. But helping me when I needed help did not buy the right to run my life when I don't. Nathan appeared at the foot of the stairs, now wearing jeans. For once, he had enough sense to say nothing. Dana slid the key toward me. Then you won't need this. I closed my fingers around it. I need you to call first. No, she said. You need me to understand that I'm not welcome unless invited. I understand. She picked up the grocery bags and left. The key was still warm in my hand. A few seconds later, Nathan said, You know she's going to blame me for that. I put the key in the kitchen drawer. If you make this about you, I said, I'll put you in the trailer with the bicycle. He went back upstairs. The following morning, I woke to the sound of my truck starting in the driveway. My keys were not on the hook by the door. I reached the front porch in my robe and one slipper. The truck was already backing out. I slapped the side of the bed with my palm. Nathan hit the brakes hard enough to throw himself forward. His window came down. What are you doing? Taking the truck. I can see that. I need to go somewhere. Then take your car. It won't start. So, you stole mine? I borrowed it. Borrowing requires a conversation. I left a note. Where? On the table. I looked through the open front door. From the porch I could see the kitchen table. There was no note. Nathan patted his coat pockets, then looked at the passenger seat. It might be in here. Get out of the truck. I'm already late. For what? A meeting. What meeting? I'll explain when I get back. He said it with one hand on the wheel and his foot easing off the brake. For a second, I thought about stepping in front of the truck. Then I imagined Dana hearing that I had challenged a moving vehicle in a bathrobe and one slipper. What time will you be back? Before lunch. What time? Noon. Fill the tank. He nodded and drove away. Leonard was standing at the end of his driveway in a green tracksuit. Lose a shoe? He called. Go inside, Leonard. I am outside. Then go somewhere else outside. He waved and kept watching. I went back into the house and found my other slipper under the dining table. Nathan's note was on the passenger seat of my truck, according to the picture he texted 10 minutes later. The note said, "Took truck. Back soon." It was written on one of my envelopes. At 9, I needed milk. At 9:30, I remembered I also needed to pick up a prescription. It wasn't urgent. I had enough pills for another 4 days. That did not improve my mood. At 10, Dana texted, "I won't be able to make breakfast Sunday." We had eaten Sunday breakfast together for years, not every single week, but often enough that the waitress at Martha's Diner stopped bringing menus. Dana ordered scrambled eggs, wheat toast, and coffee. I ordered the same thing plus bacon, and she removed 2 strips from my plate while lecturing me about sodium. I looked at her message. No reason, no apology, no period this time, which was somehow worse. I typed, "Okay," then I deleted it and typed, "I'll miss you." I deleted that too. Finally, I sent, "All right." She did not answer. At 11, I called Nathan. His phone rang until voicemail. At noon, he wasn't back. At 12:15, I called again. At 12:30, I put on my coat and walked to Leonard's house. He opened the door before I knocked. "Need a ride?" he asked. "How do you know?" "I saw Nathan take your truck. You also saw my slippers. I keep good records." Leonard drove a tan Buick that smelled like peppermint and old leather. He had attached a little plastic compass to the dashboard, though he had lived in the same town for 48 years and refused to drive anywhere he hadn't been before 2005. We picked up my prescription and stopped at the grocery store. "Dana usually does this?" he asked while I put milk in the cart. "I usually do it. She brought you groceries Wednesday. You saw that?" I saw her carry them back out. "You need curtains." "I have curtains. They interfere with the view." At checkout, I discovered I had left my wallet on the kitchen counter. I stood there with milk, coffee, bananas, and a container of chicken salad while the cashier waited. Leonard paid. "I'll give it back when we get home," I said. "I charge interest. I'll give you $8 and never speak to you again. Make it 10. On the ride back, he kept one hand at the top of the wheel and drove 6 miles under the speed limit. "You and Dana fighting?" he asked. "No." "Then she is." "Why does everybody know my business? You argue in the driveway. We talked in the kitchen, windows." I turned to look at him. "Do you have equipment? Just time." When we reached my house, my truck was parked in the driveway. Nathan was sitting behind the wheel with both hands resting on it. He didn't move when I got out of Leonard's Buick. Leonard lowered his window. "Want me to stay?" "No, I can idle. Go home." He drove across the street. Nathan got out slowly. His face had the flat, pale look of someone who had spent an hour trying not to feel anything. "You said noon," I said. "I know. It's 1:15. I know." "Did you fill the tank?" His eyes shifted toward the truck. I opened the driver's door and turned the key far enough to see the gauge. The needle sat below a quarter tank. It was almost empty when I took it. It was over half. I drove farther than I expected. "Where?" He rubbed his hand across his mouth. "Work." "What happened to your car?" "Battery's dead. We'll deal with that after you fill my tank." "Dad, gas station is 3 blocks away. I just got back." "And now you're leaving again." He looked toward the house. "Can I eat first?" "No." His head came up. "Seriously? You took my truck without asking, came back over an hour late, ignored my calls, and used my gas. You can spend 10 minutes replacing it." "Fine." I held out my hand. He gave me the keys. I put them back in his palm. "Gas station." He stared at me, then climbed into the truck and shut the door hard. When he returned, the needle showed full. He parked, brought the receipt inside, and laid it on the kitchen counter as if submitting evidence. I handed him the money Leonard had loaned me. "What's this?" he asked. "My groceries." "Walk it across the street and give it to him." "Why?" "Because he drove me. I said I was sorry I was late." "No, you didn't." He replayed the conversation in his head. "Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Give Leonard his money." Nathan picked it up, but didn't leave. "What?" "I lost my job." There are sentences that change the size of a room. That one made the kitchen smaller. I pulled out a chair and sat. "When?" "Technically today." "What does technically mean?" "They called me in." "That was the meeting." "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me?" Because you would have said I couldn't take the truck. I might have driven you. I didn't want you driving me to get fired, so you knew. He sat across from me. I knew it was possible. How long have you been missing work? I haven't been missing it, Dana said. I took days. How many? He looked at the refrigerator. Nathan, 7. In a row? Not exactly. How exactly? He gave me a tired, bitter smile. Can we skip the deposition? I'm asking because you live in my house. I worked there 12 years. That wasn't my question. They put me on a performance plan a month ago. Did Corinne know? No. Did you tell her you were going to work? Most days I was. What did you do when you weren't? Drove around, sat at the park, had coffee. I pictured Corinne getting ready in the morning, while Nathan put on a work shirt and carried an empty travel mug out to his car. I pictured him returning at the usual time, performing fatigue. Why? I couldn't go in. That's not why. He rubbed both hands over his face. I'd sit in the parking lot, and I'd think about walking through the door. Then I'd think about my manager asking where I was on the numbers and everybody looking at me. I'd tell myself I needed 10 minutes. Then it would be an hour. After that, walking in was worse. Did you call anybody? They knew I wasn't there. That isn't what I asked. No. We sat quietly. I wanted to tell him I understood. I did understand parts of it. I understood how 10 minutes of avoiding something could grow teeth. I understood the strange relief of letting someone else become angry because anger was easier to face than disappointment. But understanding had always been the first step in my helping Nathan escape the second step. What are you going to do? I asked. I don't know. You need work. I know that. You still leave on the date on the calendar. His face hardened. I just told you I got fired, and I'm sorry. You don't sound sorry. I can be sorry without changing the agreement. Where am I supposed to go? You have 8 weeks to answer that. Less than 8 now? Yes. He stood so fast the chair legs scraped the floor. Dana got to you. This has nothing to do with Dana. It has everything to do with her. She fills your head with all the ways I'm going to fail, and now every mistake proves her right. You didn't make one mistake. You took my truck without asking, came back late, ignored my calls, and lied to your wife about work. I didn't lie to you. You didn't tell me. That's not the same. It is when you're asking me to house you. He picked up Leonard's money and shoved it into his pocket. You always believe her. Dana says I always believe you. That's because she can't stand anyone else getting a second chance. I stood. Take Leonard his money. He left through the front door. I watched from the window as he crossed the street. Leonard met him halfway down the walk. They spoke for a minute. Then Leonard pointed at my truck and said something that made Nathan laugh. I didn't like that Nathan was laughing. I didn't like that I was becoming Dana. Sunday morning, I drove to Martha's Diner alone. The waitress Connie brought 2 coffees before she noticed the empty side of the booth. Dana running late? Not coming. Connie took the second cup away without asking why. I appreciated that. At the table behind me, 2 men argued about whether a boat motor could be repaired with a lawnmower part. Silverware struck plates. The front door opened every few minutes, bringing in cold air and people who seemed expected. Connie brought my eggs, wheat toast, and bacon. I ate 1 strip before I heard Dana's voice in my head. I ate the second because she wasn't there. Halfway through breakfast, my phone buzzed. It was Mark. She's miserable, the message said. I looked at the empty seat across from me. So am I typed. Before I could send it, another message appeared. She says she's done chasing you. I deleted my answer, turned the phone face down, and finished my eggs. When I got home, the kitchen was spotless. Nathan had washed the dishes, wiped the counters, taken out the trash, and thrown away the chicken. He was sitting at the table with a newspaper open to the help wanted pages. Without looking up, he said, "It smelled bad. It was fine. It was green. That was an herb." He slid the empty container toward me. The label said, "Plain roasted chicken." I took off my coat. Nathan tapped one of the job listings with a pen. "Does Dana know you went to breakfast without her?" "I'm not discussing Dana with you. She'll hear about it, probably from Leonard." He nodded as if that made sense. My phone buzzed again inside my coat pocket. This time, it was Dana. "Please don't have Mark report on me." I read it twice. Then a second message arrived. "You made your choice. Live with it." Across the table, Nathan circled a job he had no intention of taking. I put my phone away and let Dana's message sit unanswered. Nathan circled 3 more jobs before he noticed I was watching. "What?" he said. Nothing. You're looking at me like I'm doing it wrong. I'm watching you make circles. That's how you narrow things down. Are you going to call any of them? It's Sunday. The internet works Sundays. I want to think first. About what? The right fit. He had circled a sales position at a roofing company, assistant manager at a furniture outlet, and night supervisor at a hotel. 3 jobs with nothing in common except that they sounded like somebody might wear a clean shirt. I sat across from him. You don't have to perform a job search for me. I'm not performing. You've been on the same page for 40 minutes. I'm reading carefully. You circled piano teacher. He looked down. A 4th circle enclosed an advertisement for private piano instruction. I thought that said piano mover. It says lessons available. Bad font. I folded the paper in half. His phone vibrated. A name came across the screen before he turned it over. Owen. Who's Owen? I asked. You know Owen. I know 3 Owens. The one I worked with at Creston Supply. The tall one with the loud wife. They're divorced. The short one with the quiet wife. He was never married. The bald one? Yes. I liked him. You met him once. I made a decision. The phone stopped, then immediately began ringing again. Nathan pressed the side button. He seems motivated, I said. He's nosy. Why's he calling? He heard I left. You didn't leave. Same result. Not on a job application. Nathan pushed the newspaper away. Can I have one morning before you turn into Dana? It landed harder than he expected. I saw him realize it, but he didn't take it back. I stood and put my plate in the sink. You have the whole morning. Dad, I rinsed the plate. I didn't mean, yes you did. I mean, she's been on me my whole life. I don't need both of you doing it. Then stop giving both of us the same reasons. I regretted the sentence as soon as I said it. Not because it was false, because it sounded satisfying. Nathan leaned back in the chair. There he is, he said. Who? The guy who agrees with Dana when she isn't around, then tells her he agrees with me when I'm not around. I turned off the water. I don't do that. You absolutely do. When? He laughed without humor. Pick a year. I waited. He looked toward the living room, where the new vacuum sat in the corner like a witness for the prosecution. When I dropped out of community college, you told me it wasn't the end of the world. You told Dana I was throwing my life away. I might have said you were wasting an opportunity. To her. I didn't want to make things worse with you. And when she quit that hospital job, she didn't quit. She moved to another department. She walked out because her supervisor made her cry. That isn't how she told it. Exactly. I sat again. Nathan picked at the edge of the newspaper. You always told each of us whatever kept us talking to you, he said. That was unfair. It was also close enough to fair that I couldn't dismiss it. My phone rang in my coat pocket. I took it out, hoping for Dana and resenting myself for it. Mark, I answered in the living room. Did she send you a message? He asked. She sent 2. What did you say? Nothing, he exhaled. Okay, don't sound relieved. I'm not. You are. And stop reporting on her. I wasn't reporting. You told me she was miserable. She is. That's her business. She made it my business around 2 in the morning. Then discuss it with her. Mark was quiet. You're not going to make me the middleman, I said. I'm already in the middle. That position seems crowded. Ellis, I was trying to help. I know. I don't enjoy watching the 2 of you punish each other. I went to breakfast. She thinks you did that to make a point. I was hungry. You ordered bacon. Connie told her. Connie's sister goes to Dana's gym. I looked through the front window at Leonard's closed curtains. This town needs a hobby. Dana also got a text from Leonard asking if she wanted him to check your mail. I'm going to kill him. Get in line. I lowered my voice. Tell Dana you're not carrying messages? You're telling me to tell her? I closed my eyes. Mark laughed. All right, I said. I walked into that. She misses you. She knows my number. She says you know hers. We let that sit between us. Finally, I said, don't report on me either. Fair. And thank you for the vacuum. Don't tell her you like it. We'll never survive. After we hung up, I went back to the kitchen. Nathan had unfolded the newspaper. Owen's name appeared again on his phone. You're not answering because? I asked. He'll offer me a job. That sounds terrible. At his warehouse. What kind of warehouse? Restaurant equipment. He bought into the company a few years ago. What would you do? Inventory, deliveries, whatever needs doing. Can you do that? I ran sales accounts worth more than his whole operation. That wasn't my question. He looked at me. Yes. Then why won't you answer? Because he'll know why I need it. He already knows. He doesn't know everything. Neither do I. That's different. Because I'm related to you? Because you have to keep loving me. The kitchen went still. Nathan looked away first. His phone stopped ringing. I could have told him love didn't work that way. I could have said he was impossible not to love, even when he was impossible to live with. Both things would have been true, and both would have let him hide inside the reassurance. Instead, I said, Owen doesn't need to love you to give you honest work. Nathan folded the newspaper along its original crease. I'm going upstairs. You've been downstairs an hour. Productive day. He left the phone on the table. It rang again 10 minutes later. I did not answer it. At 4 that afternoon, Corinne called me. Is he there? She asked. Upstairs. Is he all right? He lost his job. Silence. You knew, I said. I suspected. He said you didn't. He said a lot of things. Her voice was tired, not angry. Anger had given her shape when she came for the shirt. Without it, she sounded smaller. He's not answering me, she said. He isn't answering Owen either. Owen Larkin? The bald one. He shaves his head. That counts. Corinne almost laughed. Then she said, I need Nathan to come by Friday and get the rest of his clothes. Tell him, I have. Then you've done your part. Ellis? What? I need to know if he's actually going to do it. So do I. I can't put his things outside. It's supposed to rain. Then choose what you're willing to do if he doesn't come. That sounds very healthy. It's new. I may be doing it wrong. She sighed. I'm not asking you to fix him. I know. I'm asking you to make him answer his phone. That's part of fixing him. He listens to you. No. He waits for me to make listening unnecessary. The sentence came out before I had fully thought it. I wrote it down on the grocery list after we hung up, because I didn't trust myself to remember something that honest. Nathan came down an hour later. Did Corinne call you? Yes. What did she say? She'll tell you. He stared at me. You can't just say she called and then refuse to tell me why. I didn't tell you she called. You asked. That is an insane distinction. Answer your phone. She turns everything into an argument. Then listen without arguing. You tried that with Dana? I looked at him. He nodded. Right. He went to the kitchen table, picked up his phone, and took it upstairs. A few minutes later, I heard his voice through the ceiling. At first, it was too low to make out. Then it rose. I said, I'll come Friday. A pause. No, I'm not sending Dad. Another pause. Because I'm not. The floor creaked as he paced. I know what I said before. His voice dropped again. I turned on the television and raised the volume. Privacy was difficult in a house built when insulation seemed optional. At 7, Nathan came downstairs and opened the refrigerator. She wants me to get everything. Then get everything. She packed it already. That was kind. It was hostile. Boxes can be both. He took out the taco meat, smelled it, and put it back. Dinner? He asked. Your night. I cooked Monday. It's Wednesday. Twice a week doesn't mean every other day. It does if you wait until Saturday. He found a can of soup and 2 bowls. 10 minutes later, we were eating tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches burnt black on one side. He placed mine burned side down. I flipped it over. It's rustic, he said. It's carbon. He scraped the black surface with a knife. Underneath, the bread was pale and damp. You've achieved 2 temperatures at once. Dana doesn't cook. No, but she knows takeout. The mention of her changed the room. Nathan put down the knife. She won't stay gone, he said. I didn't ask. She needs you too much. You don't know what she needs. I know she needs people to need her. I looked at him. He shrugged. Why do you think she married Mark? Because she loves him. She does. She also likes that he loses his keys while holding them. That happened once. It happened at my wedding. Nathan smiled at the memory. He had them in his hand for 20 minutes. We were all looking. Dana searched his pockets twice. I laughed before I could stop myself. For a moment, it felt normal. Not good exactly. Familiar. The kind of family memory that had no winner. Then Nathan's phone buzzed. He glanced down. Owen? I asked. No, Dana. That surprised me. What does she want? Nathan read the message again. She's having dinner Friday. Mark got some good news at work. What news? She didn't say. Who's invited? Corinne. He turned the phone toward me. The message was short. Mark made regional director. Dinner, Friday at 7. Corinne is coming. I'd rather you didn't. Nathan scrolled. That's it. Maybe she sent me something. I checked my phone. Nothing. Nathan watched my face. She assumes you won't come because I can't, he said. You don't know that. You're right. Maybe she forgot you exist. I pushed my bowl away. Don't. She's doing this to punish you. You're not the person I'm discussing that with. Why not? I'm the reason. No, you're the excuse. His expression tightened. I stood and carried my bowl to the sink. The grocery list lay beside it. Under milk, bananas, and coffee, I had written the sentence about Nathan, waiting for me to make listening unnecessary. I turned the paper face down. My phone rang. Dana. I answered before the second ring. Hi, she said. Her voice was formal, careful. Hi, I'm having a dinner for Mark on Friday. I heard. A pause. From Nathan? Yes. I was going to call you. You are calling. Another pause. I want you there, she said. I looked at Nathan. He sat perfectly still at the table. Is Nathan invited? Dana's breath changed. This dinner isn't about him. That isn't what I asked. No, she said. He isn't. I looked down at the dark reflection of my kitchen in the window. All right. Does that mean you're coming? I don't know. Her voice cooled. Of course you don't. Then she hung up. I kept the phone to my ear for a second after the line went dead. Nathan leaned back in his chair. Well, you heard? I heard your side. She invited me. And? I haven't decided. He gave a short laugh. You decided before she hung up. You seem to know a lot about my decisions. I know Dana. You know how to make her angry. That isn't the same thing. His chair scraped as he stood. Go, he said. Have a nice dinner with everybody who agrees I'm the problem. Mark got promoted. Good for Mark. It is. Make a toast. I might. Nathan picked up his bowl and carried it to the sink. You're doing exactly what she wants. What does she want? To split us up so she can get you back under control. She invited me to dinner, Nathan. She didn't ask me to burn your belongings. She invited Corinne. Corinne is her friend. Corinne is my wife. Those things can happen together. He turned on the water too hard. It splashed the front of his shirt. If you go, she'll think she won. If I don't go, you'll think you did. I'm not making it a contest. You just used the word won. He shut off the faucet. I took the dish towel from the handle of the oven and handed it to him. I can attend a dinner you're not invited to without abandoning you, I said. I can let you stay here without agreeing with everything you do. I can love Dana and tell her no. I can love you and tell you no. That's how adults are supposed to work. That sounds very balanced. You say that like it's a disease. Balance is what you call it when you don't want anyone mad enough to leave. He dropped the wet towel on the counter and went upstairs. I picked it up and hung it back on the oven. The next morning, Nathan stood beside his car, holding jumper cables and reading the instructions printed on their plastic bag. You've used those before, I said. It's been a while. Red goes to red. I know that. Then why are you reading? Because batteries explode, only when frightened. He looked at me over the roof of the car. You want to help? No. He waited. I waited. Seriously? You took my truck because you didn't want to ask for help. Now you're asking. Yes, good. I'll help. We connected the cables to my truck. Nathan started his car, and the engine made a dry clicking sound. Again, I said. He turned the key. This time it groaned, caught, and settled into a rough idle. Nathan smiled. There. Let it run. I know. You didn't know red goes to red 5 minutes ago. I knew. I was confirming. He closed the hood. When are you going to Corinne's? I asked. After lunch, Friday after lunch, or some other Friday. Today. Good. He looked toward the house. You going tonight? Yes. His face closed, but he nodded. Okay. He took his boxes from the garage and fit them into the back seat. I did not offer to go with him. I did not remind him to call Corinne. I did not stand in the driveway waving as he left. I watched through the kitchen window instead, which was apparently different. Dana answered my text about dinner with a thumbs-up symbol, no words. At 6:30, I put on a blue sport coat I hadn't worn since Mark's 50th birthday. It fit in the shoulders and refused to acknowledge my stomach. I changed into a brown jacket. Nathan returned while I was tying my shoes. He came through the door carrying 4 cardboard boxes and a garment bag. How'd it go? I asked. Fine. Fine good or fine terrible? Regular fine. He took the boxes upstairs, one at a time. On his third trip, I saw a framed wedding photograph lying face up in the top box. Corinne was laughing at something outside the picture. Nathan was looking at her instead of the camera. When he came down again, the photograph was gone. You don't need to wait up, I said. I wasn't going to. There's soup. I know how to feed myself. The last 4 days have raised questions. He picked up the empty boxes from the hallway. Tell Mark congratulations. I will. He did not ask me to tell Dana or Corinne anything. I arrived at Dana's carrying a bottle of wine and the new flashlight she had given me. She opened the door and stared at it. What's that? A hostess gift. I gave you that. I'm returning light to your home. Dad. I forgot the wine was enough. She took the flashlight but tried not to smile. Her house smelled like rosemary, garlic, and the lemon cleaner she used on the floors. Music played quietly from the living room. Dana had set the dining table with the blue dishes she saved for occasions she insisted were casual. Mark came from the kitchen, wearing an apron that said, Executive Chef. Dana had crossed out chef with tape and written director beneath it. Ellis, he hugged me. Regional director, I said. That sounds expensive. It sounds like longer meetings. And 23 people calling him before 8 in the morning, Dana said. 22, Mark said. Carol counts twice. Corinne stood near the fireplace with a glass of wine. She wore black pants and a green sweater I recognized from Christmas 2 years earlier. Hi, Ellis. Hi. The room paused around Nathan's absence without anyone naming it. Dana took the bottle from me. Do you want wine? Yes. She reached for a glass, stopped, and looked at me. How much? It was such a small question that no one else would have noticed. 2 fingers, I said. She poured without commenting. Dinner was roast chicken, potatoes, green beans, and a pan of macaroni and cheese Dana claimed was for Mark, but had clearly made because it was the one thing Corinne ate when upset. An extra place was not set. An extra portion was. I saw it in a rectangular glass container on the counter, covered with foil before we sat down. At the table, Mark talked about his promotion. He had been waiting 6 weeks for the decision and had told Dana not to get her hopes up, which meant she had built a spreadsheet comparing every possible salary and travel schedule. It had 4 tabs, Mark said. 5, Dana corrected. 1 was color coding. That still counts. Corinne raised her glass. To Dana's tabs. To Mark, Dana said. We drank. Mark set down his glass. Actually, to Dana's tabs. He reached for her hand. I wouldn't have applied if she hadn't pushed me. I told her I was too old to spend all day proving myself to people younger than my ties. She told me fear wasn't a retirement plan. That sounds like her, I said. Dana looked embarrassed. Mark squeezed her fingers. She read every draft of my presentation, made me practice it until I stopped apologizing for knowing my job, and threatened to hide my car keys if I tried to withdraw. She loses her own keys, Corinne said. Once, Mark said. At the wedding, I said. You all helped me look. They were in your hand, Dana said. We laughed. For a few minutes, the empty chair was just a chair. Then Corinne asked me to pass the potatoes, and Dana said, Nathan likes those. The room changed. Dana busied herself with the serving spoon. I made too many. Nobody pointed out the covered container. Corinne put a small amount of potatoes on her plate. He came by today. I know, I said. How was he? Dana asked. Corinne looked at her. Quiet. Nathan isn't quiet. He was today. Did he take everything? Everything I packed. That isn't what I asked. Dana, Mark said. She leaned back. Sorry. Corinne folded her napkin once, then unfolded it. He apologized, she said. For what? Dana asked. Not one thing? He said he was sorry he stopped participating before he left. Dana's expression did not soften. That sounds like something Dad told him to say. I didn't, I said. I didn't say you did. You looked at me. I'm sitting across from you. Mark took another drink of wine. Corinne said, It sounded like him. Dana stared at her plate. Are you taking him back? No. The answer was immediate. Corinne's voice remained calm. An apology doesn't repair 19 years in a hallway. He needed to say it. I needed to hear it. Neither one changes where he's sleeping. That's what I keep telling Dad, Dana said. I put down my fork. What do you keep telling me? That feeling sorry for him isn't the same as seeing him change. I know that. Do you? Dana, Mark said again. No, I want to know. He loses his job, takes Dad's truck, ignores every boundary, and somehow we're all supposed to applaud because he made one phone call and packed his own underwear. I looked at Corinne. You told her about the truck? She called me. Of course she did. Dana's eyes flashed. Don't make this about who talks to whom. That is what it's about. It's about you risking your health and peace because Nathan looks sad at the right moment. I'm sitting here, aren't I? She stopped. I gestured around the table. Nathan said if I came, you'd think you won. You said if I didn't come, I'd have chosen him. I came because Mark matters to me, and so do you. I didn't bring Nathan because you didn't invite him. Nothing collapsed. Dana's mouth tightened. He made you choose. No, both of you keep trying to. Silence held until Mark lifted his glass. I would like to go back to being impressive. Corinne laughed first. I followed. Even Dana smiled after a second. The rest of dinner stayed on safer ground. Mark told us he would have to travel to Cincinnati twice a month. Dana already knew the hotel ratings. Corinne described repainting her kitchen and asked whether dark green cabinets would look dated. I told her everything looked dated eventually, including people. After dessert, Corinne left first. At the door, she hugged Dana, then me. Don't carry messages, I told her quietly. I wasn't going to. Good. I was going to tell you he seems worse than he admits. I looked at her. She touched my sleeve. That's not a message, it's information. Then she left. Dana packed leftovers into 3 containers. She handed me 2. One is yours, she said. And the other, it will go bad. Whose is it? She gave me a look. I took both. At home, the kitchen light was on. Nathan sat at the table with his phone and a yellow pad. I set the containers in front of him. He lifted the foil from one. Roast chicken, potatoes, green beans, macaroni, and cheese. Did Dana make this? She made too much. His mouth moved. What did she say? Nothing? About me? Nothing I'm carrying. He nodded and covered the food again. Then he turned the yellow pad toward me. It held an address, a start time, and Owen's name. I called him, he said. When? While you were gone. What did he say? To be at the warehouse Monday at 6. In the morning? That's usually when 6 happens at a warehouse. What will you be doing? Inventory, deliveries, whatever needs doing. I looked at the pad. Temporary? Owen said steady if I'm steady. That was fair enough to sound cruel. Nathan tapped the container Dana had packed. Can I eat this now? It's yours. He got a fork from the drawer and ate standing at the counter. After 2 bites, he said, She put extra potatoes in here. I noticed. He looked down at the food. Neither of us said what that meant. My phone buzzed. A message from Dana. Thank you for coming, I typed. Thank you for asking me. This time, I sent it. Her answer came before I put the phone down. That doesn't make us okay. I looked at Nathan eating the meal she had packed for him. I know, I wrote, it doesn't. Nathan read Dana's message over my shoulder. You two always text like diplomats negotiating a border. Stop reading my phone. You hold it 6 inches from my face. I'm holding it in front of me. You need longer arms. He covered the leftovers and put them in the refrigerator. Did she make dessert? Yes. What was it? Apple crisp. Did you bring any? No. He looked personally betrayed. 8 weeks, I said. What does that have to do with dessert? Nothing. I wanted to restore order. At 5:15 Monday morning, Nathan's alarm went off. At 5:16, it stopped. I lay in bed and listened. Floorboards, running water, a cabinet door. The low, irritated sound of Nathan hitting his shoulder on something in the dark. At 5:30, the front door opened and closed. I got up, went to the window, and watched his taillights disappear. His car had started. He had packed a lunch the night before, 2 sandwiches, an apple, and most of Dana's macaroni and cheese in a container I had wanted back. He returned after 4 that afternoon, wearing work boots I hadn't seen before, and a gray shirt with Owen's commercial equipment stitched over the pocket. How was it? I asked. Long? Did Owen make you shave your head? He offered. What did you do? Counted fryer baskets. How many? 612. That seems like too many. There are different sizes. I didn't accuse them of being identical. Nathan dropped his keys into a bowl by the door. Not on the table, not inside his coat pocket. The bowl. Tomorrow I'm helping with deliveries. Good. He waited for me to say more. I didn't. He opened the refrigerator and stood there, You could ask if I liked it. Did you? No. All right, he looked back at me. That's it? Were you hoping I'd convince you? I'm used to follow-up questions. Here's one. Are you going back tomorrow? Yes, then you liked it enough. He took out the leftover chicken. By Wednesday, Nathan had counted more kitchen equipment than I knew existed. He had opinions about commercial ice machines, stacking chairs, and the quality of rubber mats used behind bars. Owen paid him less than his old job and expected more physical work. Nathan complained every evening and got up every morning. Wednesday's alarm rang for 12 minutes. I heard it from my bedroom. I heard Nathan turn it off, then heard nothing. At 5:40, I made coffee. At 6:10, a door slammed upstairs. Nathan came down hopping on one foot while pulling on a boot. Why didn't you wake me? Good morning, I'm late. Yes. You were awake. Yes. He stopped with one boot unlaced. You knew I overslept. I suspected. You let me. I didn't put you to bed. Owen said steady if I'm steady. Then you should call him. What am I supposed to say? The truth is short. He glared at me, grabbed his lunch, and ran outside. He left the lunch on the porch. I saw it through the window. For 5 minutes, I debated whether taking it to him would count as reasonable kindness or the first plank in a bridge he expected me to build every time he found water. I left it there. When he returned that afternoon, the bag was still beside the doormat. He picked it up and carried it in. You could have put this in the fridge. It wasn't mine. It had mayonnaise. Did you want me to drive it to the warehouse? No, then we agree. He took out the sandwiches, smelled one, and threw both away. Owen docked me an hour. How late were you? 38 minutes. What happened to the other 22? He said, inconvenience has a minimum charge. I like Owen. He likes you too. He asked if you still make that chili. I had made chili once for a football game 12 years earlier. Owen ate 4 bowls and left before his stomach turned against him. I thought he was the one who shaved his head, I said. He is. Then I remember him. Nathan washed out the lunch container. He had started doing dishes without being asked, though only the ones he personally used. My coffee cup could sit beside his plate in the sink and remain untouched, protected by some moral boundary visible only to him. Corinne texted, he said. I waited. She asked if I found work. What did you tell her? Nothing yet. Why? I don't want her thinking this fixes everything. Do you think it fixes everything? No. Then tell her that too. He dried the container. You could mention it if she calls. No. I'm not asking you to convince her. You're asking me to deliver information that makes you look better. It's true information, then it should survive coming from you. He shook his head. You're enjoying this boundary thing? Parts of it. That evening, I received a text from Dana. The restaurant container belongs to me. No greeting. I looked in the refrigerator. Nathan had taken his lunch in a plastic container I recognized as mine. Dana's glass one sat clean on the drying rack. I wrote, I have it. She answered, Mark can pick it up. I typed, or I can bring it. The 3 dots appeared, leave it with Mark. I called her. She didn't answer. The next Sunday, I sat at Martha's with 1 coffee from the beginning. Connie did not ask about Dana. She placed the cup in front of me, turned it so the handle faced my right hand, and walked away. I ordered bacon without needing to prove anything. The booth felt larger than it had the week before. I tried reading the newspaper, but someone at the counter kept snapping open a plastic sweetener packet. 4 tables away, a woman was telling her husband about every item she had seen at the hardware store. I envied him. When I got home, Nathan was in the kitchen making pancakes. One was stuck to the ceiling. I looked up. Batter issue, he said. How? The spoon slipped. The spoon sent batter 6 feet vertically. There was momentum. A second pancake burned in the skillet. Turn the heat down. I have it under control. The smoke has crossed into the living room. He lowered the heat. I hung my coat by the door. Dana didn't come again? No. Did you call her? No. So you're both waiting. I didn't ask for commentary. He flipped a pancake. It folded in half and landed near the burner. You should call her, he said. You should call Corinne. I texted her Thursday. What did you say? That I found work and it doesn't fix everything. What did she say? Congratulations on the job. And that was it. How'd that feel? He gave me a look. Why does every question lead back to my feelings? Because you bring them into the kitchen before breakfast. He put the least damaged pancake on a plate and slid it toward me. I ate it. Not bad, I said. It's burned. I'm building confidence. He sat across from me with his own plate. After a minute, he said, "When Dana and I were in our 20s, she called you every night. I remember. She would complain about work, Mark, the neighbors, whatever. You'd stay on the phone forever. So, when I called, you'd try to solve whatever I said. You usually had a problem. She had problems. She wanted to talk. Maybe I did too." I set down my fork. Nathan poured syrup over the darkest part of his pancake. "You two always acted like I was a repair," he said. "Dana told me what was wrong with me. You told me it wasn't that bad. Nobody asked what it was like being me. What was it like?" He smiled without looking up. A little late for that question. Yes. The words surprised him. I pushed my plate away. "I'm going to Dana's, now? Yes." "Did you call?" "I'm going to." He raised both eyebrows. "I learned slowly," I said. Dana responded to my text after 12 minutes. "You can come at 2. I arrived at 1:58 with her glass container on the passenger seat. I sat in the car until 2 because I knew she would notice. At exactly 2, I walked to the door. Dana opened it before I knocked. "Mark's at the gym," she said. "I came to see you." "I know." She took the container and inspected it for damage. "It's clean. I can see that." "May I come in?" She stepped aside. The house smelled like coffee. On the dining table, her laptop sat open beside 3 folders and a yellow legal pad filled with neat handwriting. Dana had always created order on paper before she tried imposing it on people. She closed the laptop. "Do you want coffee?" "Yes." She poured 2 cups. Mine already had cream in it. We sat across from each other at the table. I had rehearsed several openings in the car. Everyone sounded like I was preparing to explain why she was wrong. So I started somewhere else. "You were right when you said, 'I always do this.'" Dana's face stayed still. "I've spent a lot of years asking you to understand Nathan," I said. "I called you sensible when what I meant was convenient. If he was late, I asked you to wait. If he broke a promise, I asked you not to make a scene. When he needed help, I called you because I knew you'd come." She wrapped both hands around her mug. "When I had surgery, I asked Nathan to drive me home first." Her eyes dropped. "You knew?" "He told me he couldn't get away from work. He called me 10 minutes before I was supposed to pick you up." "I didn't know that." "He said you changed your mind." I felt something cold settle in my chest. Dana looked toward the window. "I had a meeting with the hospital administrator that morning. I left in the middle of it. I thought you asked for me. I should have, but you didn't." "No." She pressed her lips together. I went on before courage turned into defense. "I praised you for being the one who could handle things. Mostly that meant I handed you things. Then I praised myself for staying neutral when I wasn't neutral. I was letting Nathan create trouble and letting you absorb it." Dana's eyes shone. "You always took his side. I took the quietest side. That was usually his because you were the one yelling. I yelled because neither of you would say anything." "I know." She looked at me then. For the first time since my birthday dinner, the anger left her face. What remained was worse. "I was so tired," she said. "I know." "No, Dad. You know now. I was tired then." "You're right." She wiped beneath one eye with her thumb, angry at the tear for arriving. "I'm sorry," I said. "Not for one dinner. For the job I gave you in this family and then acted like you volunteered." Her shoulders lowered. I reached across the table. This time, she let me cover her hand. Then I said, "But being sorry for that doesn't mean you get to decide for me now." Her hand went rigid beneath mine. I felt the whole room close again. "You couldn't let it stand," she said. "It needs to stand beside the truth. You came here to apologize and tell me you're still going to defy me. I'm not defying you. I'm making my own decisions. You can't apologize and contradict me in the same breath. An honest apology has to leave both of us free." She pulled her hand away. "Free," she repeated. "That's what you call it." I looked at the coffee she had prepared exactly the way I liked it. "What do you call it?" Dana stood. "I call it getting everything you want. Nathan in your house, me back at your table, and nobody allowed to tell you what it costs." She carried her untouched coffee to the sink. "You should go," she said. I stood slowly. At the door, I turned back. I meant the apology. "I know. That doesn't make it less true because I won't obey you. I know that too." "Then what do you want from me?" Dana opened the door. "I want you to feel what choosing him costs before you ask me to make it easier." I stepped onto the porch. The door closed behind me, not hard, not loud. Final, warm, certain, exactly like her hand over mine at the restaurant. I sat in my car outside Dana's house with both hands on the steering wheel. Her porch light came on, even though the sun was still up. It had a timer. Dana believed darkness should receive notice. I considered going back to the door. I could have apologized for the last 30 seconds of the conversation. I could have told her I understood the cost, agreed not to mention Nathan for 1 week, and asked if Sunday breakfast was still possible. That would have eased things. It also would have turned the apology into a down payment on permission. I started the car. At home, the smell of chili reached me before I took off my coat. Nathan stood at the stove wearing one of my aprons. It said, "Kiss the cook," though half the letters had worn off, leaving "kiss the so-o." He looked at my face. "How'd it go?" "She asked me to leave." He stirred the pot. "I'm sorry." No smile, no comment about being right. That helped and irritated me. "What's in the chili?" I asked. "The recipe you wrote for Owen's football game. You found that?" "It was taped inside the cabinet. I lost it 10 years ago. You put recipes in strange places." "I put that there because the cabinet wouldn't stay closed." Nathan lifted the spoon. "Taste." I did. It was too thick and needed salt, but it tasted like the chili Owen remembered. "Good," I said. Actually. He turned the heat down. "If Dana wants me out, I can go." "Where?" "I don't know." "Then you can't go. I can find a motel." "With what money?" He looked back into the pot. "Owen pays Fridays. You don't leave because Dana is angry, and you don't stay to make Dana angry. I'm the reason she's not talking to you. No, you're the subject. That sounds like a difference you invented. It is. I'm keeping it." He filled 2 bowls. We ate at the kitchen table. The wall calendar hung behind him, the blue circle no longer far enough away to seem theoretical. "You still want me gone that day?" he asked. "Yes." He nodded. "What if I don't have a place?" "Then you'll have a problem on that day." "You really have changed." "No. I'm trying to stop changing depending on which one of you is in the room." Nathan tore a cracker in half. "What did she say?" "I'm not discussing her with you." "Right." He ate the chili without asking again. The house settled into a routine that almost looked healthy from a distance. Nathan left before sunrise. I heard him shower, curse softly at the coffee maker, and close the front door. He came home smelling like cardboard, metal shelving, and whatever restaurant equipment had passed through the warehouse that day. On Fridays, he bought groceries. The first time, he came home with 6 frozen pizzas, sandwich meat, coffee, and a family-sized bag of chocolate-covered pretzels. "Where are the vegetables?" I asked. "There are peppers on the pizzas. The red pieces are marketing." He went back out and bought broccoli. He cooked twice a week. Some meals were edible. One chicken breast was so dry, I could have mailed it without an envelope. He learned to make rice after 2 attempts that produced something resembling wall paste. He also cleaned the bathroom every Saturday without announcing it. I did not praise him for the bathroom. Adults do not receive medals for toilets. I wanted to. Dana remained absent. Sometimes I saw her car downtown. Once I watched it turn ahead of me at a light and followed for 3 blocks before realizing I was doing it. She drove to a pharmacy. I continued past and bought batteries I did not need. Mark called twice. We discussed his new job, the Cincinnati travel, and whether the quiet vacuum was supposed to make a clicking sound when turned sharply. We did not discuss Dana. His refusal to carry messages was admirable until I wanted one carried. On a Thursday evening, Nathan came through the door at 7:40 with dust on his pants and panic in his eyes. "What time is it?" "You have a phone. My battery died. There's a clock on the stove." He looked at it and swore. "What?" "I was supposed to meet Corinne at 6. Where?" "Her house." "For what?" "To move the bookcase from the spare room." "Why didn't you call?" "My phone died. Before that." "I didn't know we'd be late." Owen had sent him with a delivery 2 counties over. The restaurant receiving the equipment had no loading space. The manager disappeared, and one of the refrigeration units arrived with a damaged wheel. The driver refused to leave it. Owen stayed to handle the problem, and Nathan stayed because he was supposed to. It was a legitimate reason. That made the failure more dangerous. Nathan picked up my phone from the counter. I took it from his hand. "What are you doing?" "Calling Corinne." "Use your phone. It's dead. Plug it in. It'll take 10 minutes. She's already waited an hour and 40. Then 10 minutes won't change the situation. He stared at me. You're proving a point. No, I'm keeping my phone out of your marriage. He found his charger and plugged it into the wall. The screen lit up with a red battery symbol. Within seconds, my phone rang. Corinne. Nathan looked at it. Answer, he said. I did. Hi. Is he there? Yes. Is he alive? Yes. Did he tell you he was supposed to be here? He just did. Nathan mouthed, Tell her about the delivery. I turned away from him. Corinne said, I left work early. I moved everything away from the bookcase. I waited. I called Owen's warehouse and they said nobody knew where he was. They were on a delivery. Nathan pointed at himself, then toward the phone, as if I might forget which man had gone. Corinne was quiet for a moment. Is that true? Yes. He couldn't call. His phone died. Nathan nodded rapidly. I added, He could have called before it died. His nod stopped. Corinne let out a breath. Of course. Nathan will call you. I don't want another apology. Then tell him what you do want. I want him to show up. I looked at Nathan. He didn't, I said. His face tightened. No, Corinne said. He didn't. We hung up. Nathan stared at me. You made that worse. I told the truth. You left out everything that mattered. I said you were working. You said I could have called. You could have. I didn't know I'd be late. You knew you had somewhere to be. You've never been stuck at work? Yes. You've never forgotten to call? Yes. And did everybody treat it like proof of your entire character? Sometimes it was. He pulled his phone from the charger. It showed 2%. I stayed because Owen needed me. That's what everybody says I never do. I showed up for work and failed to show up for Corinne. I couldn't do both. You could have warned her. He paced across the kitchen. I'm trying, I know. Do you? Yes. Then why do you sound like Dana? Because trying doesn't make the person waiting less alone. He stopped. The sentence hit both of us. His phone turned on fully. 11 missed calls, 6 from Corinne, 3 from Dana, 2 from Owen. Dana's name lit the screen again. Nathan looked at me. Answer it, I said. He did. Hi. I could hear Dana's voice, but not the words. No, I'm fine. A longer burst. I was working. He closed his eyes. I know what time it is. Another burst. I already talked to Dad. He looked at me. No, he didn't cover for me. Dana's voice sharpened. Nathan held the phone away from his ear. This is between me and Corinne. Dana said something else. No. Don't put him on. I'm calling her. He ended the call. She was with Mark, I guess. What did she want? To tell me she knew this would happen. Did you expect anything else? No. He went upstairs to call Corinne. My phone rang less than a minute later. I considered letting it go. Then I answered. Dana did not say hello. I told you, I know. He couldn't make it 3 weeks. He's made it to work every day except the morning he was late. That isn't what I mean. I know that too. Corinne left work. She sat there waiting. Again? Yes. And you're still going to say he's changing. He is changing. He did the exact same thing. Yes. Dana went silent, ready for the part where I excused it. I didn't. Finally, she said, You don't sound surprised. I'm not. So you knew he'd do this? I knew he might fail. And you let him. He's 44. I don't let him fail any more than I let him succeed. That sounds noble. It isn't. It's uncomfortable. What's the difference between this and every other time? Every other time, I tried to hide the failure from the people it hurt. Or, I explained it until nobody was allowed to be angry. This time he failed where everyone can see it, including him. Corinne still lost an evening. Yes. She's still hurt. Yes. You're not going to defend him? No. Dana's breath softened. I sat at the kitchen table. I'm not fooled, Dana. I didn't say you were. You said I was too old to decide. You think I don't understand the risk? I think you always believe the risk belongs to you. That stopped me. What does that mean? You give Nathan a chance, and when he fails, you say you're the one who got hurt. But Corinne waits. Mark rearranges things. I get the calls. You sit in your kitchen and feel patient. I looked at the ceiling, listening to Nathan's voice move above me. You're right, I said. Dana went quiet again. But I'm not calling Corinne to explain him, I added. I'm not asking you to forgive him. I'm not cleaning up tonight. What are you doing? Waiting to see what he does next? That must be nice. No, I said, it really isn't. After the call, Nathan came downstairs. Corinne rescheduled for Saturday, he said. What time? 9. Put it on the calendar. He did. Then he set 3 alarms on his phone and plugged it in. Saturday morning, he left at 8:15. At 11, he returned with the bookcase strapped to the roof of his car and Corinne's green paint on one sleeve. Did you move it? I asked. Yes. You're wearing the room? The wall was closer than I thought. He carried the bookcase into the garage. That afternoon, I looked at the blue circle on the calendar. 18 days. I sent Dana a message. Dinner here on Nathan's last Saturday. You and Mark. 7 o'clock. Her response came an hour later. Will he be gone before we arrive? I typed, no. He's invited. Dana called instead of answering. You said it was his last Saturday. It is. So, why would he be there? Because he leaves Sunday. Have him leave before dinner. He has a room until the date we agreed on. A room? A room here. I thought you meant he found somewhere. Not yet. She made a sound that was almost a laugh. Of course not. He has 18 days. He had 8 weeks. He's had less than 6. You're counting for him now? I'm looking at a calendar. You know what I mean. I did. I walked to the living room window. Nathan was in the garage trying to find a place for the bookcase. He had already moved it 3 times. Every time he set it down, the uneven floor made it wobble. I want you and Mark at dinner, I said. Will Corinne be there? No. Why not? Because I'm not turning Nathan's last night into a test of his marriage, but you'll turn it into a test of us. It isn't a test? Then tell him to leave before 7. No, he can go to Owen's. He can go to a restaurant. He can drive around for 2 hours. He lives here. You keep saying that like you're proud of it. I'm not proud or ashamed. It's a fact. Dana's voice lowered. If he's there, I won't be. There it was, clean, reasonable, and sharpened at both ends. I watched Nathan shove a folded piece of cardboard beneath one corner of the bookcase. It held for a second, then slipped out. I'll miss you, I said. Dana did not speak. I nearly filled the silence. I nearly said I didn't mean it, or told her we could arrange another dinner, or promised I would call the moment Nathan moved out. Instead, I waited. You always do this, she said finally. Do what? You get very calm and make everybody else sound unreasonable. I didn't say you were unreasonable. You don't have to. You say, I'll miss you like some patient old saint, and suddenly I'm the one tearing the family apart. I'm not a saint. No. You're just never the loudest person in the room. She hung up. I stood at the window with the phone in my hand. Nathan came in through the kitchen a few minutes later. The floor in the garage is crooked. It has character. It has a lawsuit. You're not suing me. I'll add it to the calendar. He opened the refrigerator and drank orange juice from the carton. I tapped the glass. He lowered it. What? Use a cup. You live alone. I live with a man who drinks from cartons. He took a glass from the cabinet. Was that Dana? Yes. Is she coming? No. He poured the juice. Because I'll be here. Yes. I can leave for dinner. No, I'm not asking permission. I can go out. You're invited. That doesn't mean I have to accept. I turned from the window. Do you want to be there? He hesitated. Yes. Then be there. She'll hate me more. This isn't about making Dana hate you less. It should be. Why? Because you want her back. The sentence was so simple, I resented it. Nathan set the juice down. I can go to Owen's, Dad. He watches hockey on Saturdays. I'll eat chicken wings and pretend to know what icing is. Icing is for cake. Exactly. I'm not asking my son to leave my house so my daughter will enter it. You make it sound ugly. It is ugly. She's setting a boundary. So am I. Nathan studied my face. She's right about one thing, he said. What? You do get calmer when you're angry. I'm not angry. You're whispering. I looked at the phone in my hand. Go fix the bookcase. It's the floor. Then fix the floor. Over the next week, Nathan began bringing home boxes from the warehouse. Not empty ones, flattened ones, stacked behind the garage door for his move. He had also started browsing room listings on his phone, though he closed them whenever I came near. I did not ask what he could afford. I did not offer to pay a deposit. I thought about both every day. Owen came by one evening in a white delivery van with his company name printed on the side. He was taller than I remembered and not completely bald. A narrow strip of gray hair ran around the back of his head. "You shave that," I told him. "What?" Nathan said. "You shave your head." Owen rubbed the gray strip. "I'm conserving it." He had brought Nathan home because his car was making a grinding noise. "It's a brake pad," Owen said. Nathan got out of the passenger side carrying his lunch bag. "You don't know that? It sounds like an animal chewing silverware. It stops when I turn left." "That's not a feature." I looked at Nathan. "When are you getting it checked?" "Saturday." "This Saturday?" "Yes." Owen leaned toward me. He put it on the calendar. Nathan glared at him. Owen grinned. "He tells everybody about your calendar." "I don't tell everybody, just me, 2 drivers, the office manager, and a dishwasher salesman from Toledo." It came up naturally. Owen handed me a business card. "If he oversleeps again, don't wake him." I didn't. "That's why I like you." Nathan walked toward the house. Owen watched him go. "He's doing good," he said quietly. "How good?" "Shows up, does the work. Complains, but that's free." "Is this temporary?" "Not if he keeps showing up." I turned the business card over in my fingers. "He's looking for a room." "I know. Do you?" Owen nodded. "There's a studio over my garage. My niece used it when she was finishing nursing school. It's empty now. All one room, bathroom, hot plate." "You want luxury? Don't live above Owen." "How much?" "That's between me and him." I liked Owen less for not telling me and more for the reason. "Has he seen it?" "Yesterday." "He didn't say. He asked me not to." "Then why are you telling me?" Owen considered that. "Because I'm bad at boundaries." He climbed back into the van. "Don't make it easier for him," he said through the open window. "He'll confuse easy with good. That sounds like experience. I worked with him 6 years." He drove away. Inside, Nathan was putting his lunch container in the dishwasher. "Owen has a room." His shoulders tightened. "He talks too much." "You could have told me. I was going to." "When? When I sign something. Are you taking it? If I can afford it." "Can you?" "Yes." "Then what's the question?" He closed the dishwasher. "The question is whether I want to live above a man who arrives at work at 5:30 and knows where I sleep. That sounds useful. To you." I leaned against the counter. "When will you decide?" "Tomorrow." "Why tomorrow?" "Owen needs an answer." "Good." He looked at me as if waiting for an offer. The old instinct rose before I could stop it. I wanted to say I could help with the first month. I wanted to tell him he could stay another week if the room wasn't ready. I wanted to turn uncertainty into comfort and call it fatherhood. Instead, I opened the refrigerator. "We're out of milk. I bought it last time. I'll buy it." The next evening, Nathan came home with a brass key on a plain metal ring. He set it in the bowl beside his car keys. "Owen's garage?" I asked. "Studio? Luxury? There's a hot plate. When do you move?" "Sunday morning," the date in the blue circle. "Good," I said. He nodded. Neither of us moved. Then he said, "You could sound sad. I'm trying not to confuse sad with changing my mind. That was almost something. I'll work on it." On Friday, I went to the grocery store for dinner ingredients. Nathan had decided to cook roast chicken, despite the evidence of his previous chicken. I was responsible for potatoes and green beans. We agreed to buy dessert rather than risk the oven holding 2 emergencies. I was choosing apples when Dana turned into the aisle. Her cart held coffee, yogurt, wheat bread, and the same turkey sausage she used to bring me. She stopped when she saw me. "Hi," I said. "Hi." We stood beside a pyramid of canned peaches. "How's Mark?" I asked. "In Cincinnati. First trip?" "Second." "Does he like it?" "He likes the hotel. He hates the pillows." "That sounds like Mark." She nodded. I put 4 apples into a bag. "Is Nathan still leaving Sunday?" she asked. "Yes." "Where's he going?" "Room above Owen's garage." "Owen Larkin?" "The one who shaves his head." "He doesn't shave it. I've been told." She looked down at her cart. "So you were right." "About what?" "He's leaving. I didn't know whether he would, but he is." "Yes." She gripped the cart handle. "You expect me to come Saturday and act like everything worked?" "No." "What do you expect?" "To eat dinner. With him. With all of you." "I told you I won't. I heard you." Her eyes came up. "You really won't ask him to leave for 2 hours?" "No. even now that he has somewhere to go. It isn't about where he can go. What is it about? Not using one of you to purchase the other. She shook her head. There. That voice. What voice? The one that makes everything you say sound carved in stone. I started to answer. She raised a hand. You think because you don't yell, you aren't controlling the room. You go quiet, you wait. You let everybody else fill the silence until they say too much, and then you stand there looking wounded. The canned peaches seem suddenly interesting. Is that what I do? Yes. Did I do it when you told me I was too old to decide? Yes. What should I have done? Told me I hurt you. The answer was immediate. I looked at her. Dana's eyes filled, but she did not look away. I hurt you, she said. You punished me by making me guess how much. I finished my pie. You disappeared while sitting right in front of me. People pushed carts past us. A store employee restocked cans on the other side of the display. You hurt me, I said. I know. I was humiliated. Her chin trembled once. I know. I also knew if I opened my mouth, I'd say something I couldn't take back. So, you said nothing, yes. Silence gets taken back all the time, Dad. Usually by the person who uses it. I let that settle. Then I said, you still don't get to make the decision. Her face closed, but not all the way. I know, she said. It was the first time she had admitted it. I waited. She looked toward my cart. What are you making Saturday? Chicken? Nathan? Yes. You should have a backup. I bought soup. That almost made her smile. She pushed her cart past me. 7? She asked. Yes. I'm not promising. I know. I watched her turn at the end of the aisle. A minute later, I found the turkey sausage from her cart tucked between my apples and the potatoes. I looked back. Dana was gone. I carried the turkey sausage to the register with everything else. The cashier scanned it and dropped it into a bag with the green beans. You had help shopping, she said. What makes you think that? You have frozen soup, fresh vegetables, and 3 kinds of dessert. One is insurance. Against what? My son cooking. She looked at the roast chicken in my cart. You need more insurance. Saturday morning, Nathan found the sausage in the refrigerator. You don't eat this. I do now. Dana buys it. Other people are allowed. He turned the package over. She put this in your cart, didn't she? I took eggs from the refrigerator. Apparently, so she's coming. She didn't say that. She doesn't sneak processed turkey into the carts of people she's done with. She said she wasn't promising. Nathan placed the sausage back exactly where he found it. Should we set a place for her? She was invited. That's not what I asked. I cracked an egg into a bowl. Yes. He nodded and began opening cabinets. What are you doing? Getting a pan. I'm cooking breakfast. You bought the sausage. That doesn't make it ceremonial. He cooked it anyway. Every patty had one burned side. He arranged mine burned side down. You do that every time, I said. Presentation matters. Reality matters. Reality is under the sausage. By noon, the house looked like it was preparing for 2 opposite events. Nathan's flattened boxes had become full boxes lining the hallway. My dining table was covered with plates, folded napkins, and the blue serving bowl Dana liked. The spare room was half empty. The kitchen was twice as full as usual. Nathan had packed the ceramic rooster. Leave it out, I said. Why? It watches the kitchen. You called it ugly. It lost a foot in my house. We have history. It lost a foot in my garage. Corinne said you were moving it toward the trash. Allegedly. He took the rooster out of the box and set it on the windowsill. The photograph of him and Corinne stayed wrapped in a bath towel on the bed. He had not taped that box shut. At 3, he began the chicken. At 3:10, he called Owen. At 3:12, he called Corinne. At 3:15, he asked me how long chicken took. You're the cook, I said. You've cooked chicken. So have you. Not successfully. I looked at the bird. Why is it upside down? It cooks more evenly. According to the internet. Which part of the internet? A man with an apron. We're doomed. Nathan turned it right side up. The potatoes went into the oven at 4. At 4:30, he remembered the chicken needed to be at a different temperature. At 4:40, smoke came from the roasting pan. It's the herbs, he said. Herbs don't smoke like that. The butter, then. The butter is on fire. It isn't fire. A small flame appeared near the wing. I reached for the baking soda. Don't put that on dinner. You have a better idea? Nathan opened the oven, blew at the flame, and filled the kitchen with smoke. The alarm began shrieking. He grabbed a dish towel and waved it beneath the detector. "Open the window," I said. "It's cold. Then enjoy the warmth of the burning chicken." We got the smoke out. The chicken survived with a black patch on one side and no visible flame. At 5, Nathan put the green beans on the stove. At 5:15, he forgot them. At 5:30, I lifted the lid and found gray-green vegetables collapsing in shallow water. "We have soup," I said. He stared into the pot. Dana would say she knew this would happen. Dana says that about weather. He drained the beans and covered them with almonds. They look intentional now. They look buried. At 6:30, the table was set for 4. Nathan changed his shirt twice. The first one had a warehouse stain across the pocket. The second had a loose button. He settled on a dark sweater Corinne had packed. I wore the brown jacket again, then took it off because I was in my own house and felt ridiculous. At 6:50, headlights passed the front window. They continued down the street. At 6:58, another car slowed. Leonard turned into his own driveway. At 7, nothing happened. Nathan opened the oven and looked at the chicken. "Stop releasing the heat," I said. "It's done. Then take it out. If they're late, it'll get cold." "They?" He closed the oven. Mark could be parking. At 7:03, a car door shut outside. Nathan looked at me. I went to the front door. Mark stood on the porch holding a bottle of wine and a bakery box. He was alone. "Come in," I said. He looked past me at the table. "Dana isn't coming." "I know. She wanted me to tell you she hopes dinner goes well." "I don't believe that." "She wanted me to tell you something polite. That was the closest option." Nathan appeared behind me. "Hi, Mark." "Hi. You don't have to stay." Mark looked at him. "I was invited." Nathan glanced at me, then stepped aside. Mark handed me the wine. "What's in the box?" I asked. "Rolls. We have rolls." "Dana said yours would be frozen." "Mine were frozen. She sent those?" "She put them in my car." Nathan took the bakery box. "She's not done with us," he said. Mark removed his coat. "Don't build a cathedral out of bread." We sat at 7:15. Dana's chair stayed empty. Mark was across from it. I was beside it. Nathan had positioned himself farthest away, as if distance could reduce responsibility. The chicken was better than it looked. The potatoes were undercooked in the middle. The green beans had surrendered completely. Mark chewed one with concentration. "These are soft," he said. "That's kind," Nathan said. "Do you have teeth?" I asked. "Not necessary." We ate. Conversation moved carefully. Mark described a hotel in Cincinnati where the shower had 3 handles and none produced hot water. Nathan told him about delivering a commercial freezer to a bar whose rear doorway was 4 inches too narrow. "What did you do?" Mark asked. "We removed the door frame. Were you allowed?" The owner was holding the hammer. "That feels like permission." Mark asked about the room above Owen's garage. "Studio," Nathan corrected. "Does it have a kitchen?" "Hot plate." "Garage," Mark said. "Studio." I poured more wine. The empty chair did not become less empty. Halfway through dinner, Mark's phone lit up beside his plate. Dana. He turned it face down. Nathan looked at the screen, then at him. "You can answer. She knows where I am. That's why you should answer." Mark picked up the phone and walked into the kitchen. We heard his side. "Hi." A pause. "We're eating." Another pause. "The chicken is good." Nathan looked pleased. "The green beans are very soft." He stopped looking pleased. Mark lowered his voice and moved farther into the kitchen. Nathan pushed food around his plate. "She's mad at him for coming." "You don't know that." I heard her voice. "You heard a noise from 20 feet away. I know her angry frequency." I put down my fork. "Don't use Mark to measure Dana. I'm not. You are." She gave him rolls and then made him come alone. She gets to be thoughtful and angry at the same time. But if I do one decent thing, nobody lets it count. Decent things count. They don't erase the other things. "I know." "Do you?" He looked at Dana's chair. "I'm here, aren't I?" "Yes." I went to work. I found a room. I went back to move Corinne's bookcase. I apologized. "Yes." "She still isn't here." "No." "What else am I supposed to do?" "Stop making her attendance your receipt." His face tightened. I continued before he could answer. "Dana's empty chair isn't proof you're innocent. It isn't proof I'm wrong either. It's a chair. She chose not to sit in it. That sounds like the calm voice she hates. It probably is." Mark returned. He sat and drank half his wine. Everything all right? I asked. No, it was an honest answer. Is she angry you came? Nathan asked. Mark looked at him. She's angry you were invited. That's what I asked. No. You asked if she was angry at me. She is. She's angry near me. There's a difference. Nathan gave a short laugh. Good luck with that. Don't, Mark said. The word stopped him. Mark rarely used that tone. He was an easy man, but not weak. People mistook the space he gave Dana for surrender. Sometimes it was. Sometimes it was love, with room around it. You don't get to make a joke out of my marriage, he said. Dana has spent years taking calls you didn't answer, helping Corinne after you disappeared into that garage, and reassuring your father every time he defended you, and then wondered if he was wrong. Nathan's face lost color. Mark leaned forward. I came tonight because Ellis asked me, and because I'm tired of invitations becoming loyalty tests. Dana is home because she's hurt. Both of those decisions cost us something. Don't sit there acting like she's throwing a tantrum. Nathan looked down. You're right, he said. Mark sat back. Nobody spoke. Then Nathan said, I'm sorry. Mark nodded once. This time, Nathan let the apology sit. I lifted my glass. I had a toast planned. Was it long? Mark asked. It is now. Then I object. I ignored him. To Nathan leaving tomorrow. Nathan looked up. Thank God, Mark said, and we all laughed harder than the joke deserved. I waited until it quieted. To leaving on time, I added, to arriving when invited, to missing people without making them owe us, and to not burning down the kitchen. Nathan raised his glass. The flame was brief. Mark raised his. We drank. Dessert was apple pie from the bakery, chosen by Dana. Mark admitted that after I recognized the box. She said coconut cream felt manipulative, he told me. It would have worked, I said. When dinner ended, Nathan packed a container with chicken, potatoes, and the least ruined green beans. For Dana, he told Mark. She won't eat the chicken. It's good. She'll say it's dry. It isn't. I'll tell her you made it. Nathan hesitated, then added another potato. Tell her nothing. Just give it to her. Mark took the container. At the door, he hugged me. She almost came, he said quietly. Is that reporting? Yes. Then stop. He smiled. I'll see you next week. That a promise? A threat. After he left, Nathan and I cleared the table. He picked up Dana's untouched plate last. The napkin was still folded on top. Should we put this away? He asked. It's a plate. You know what I mean. Yes. He carried it to the kitchen. We washed dishes without talking. Nathan cleaned the roasting pan. I dried. The ceramic rooster watched from the windowsill. At 10, he taped the final box. At 10:30, I passed the spare room and found him sitting on the bare mattress with a framed photograph in his hands. I stayed in the hallway. Need anything? I asked. No. I started to leave. Dad, I turned. Thanks for not letting me stay longer. He looked at the picture, not at me. I wanted you to. I know. That's why I'm glad you didn't. I nodded. Get some sleep. At 6 the next morning, I woke to the sound of boxes moving in the hallway. Nathan was fully dressed. His car keys lay in the bowl. The brass key to Owen's studio was in his pocket. He held up my truck keys. Can I borrow it? He asked. You can borrow it, I said. Nathan looked at the keys, then at me. That easy? You asked. I asked yesterday, too. Yesterday you were standing in my kitchen. I meant the first time. The first time, you were already backing out. He nodded. Full tank when you bring it back, I said. It's almost full now. Then this should be easy. He tucked the keys into his pocket. We carried the first boxes outside before sunrise. I took the light ones. Nathan pretended not to notice, which was kinder than repeatedly asking about my hip. His belongings had multiplied overnight. The boxes in the hallway were joined by 2 suitcases, 3 plastic bins, a rolled rug, the golf clubs, and a floor lamp he insisted had been in the spare room the entire time. That is not my lamp, I said. It was beside the dresser. It came in your trailer. I don't remember packing it. You didn't remember packing Corinne's shirt either. He looked at the lamp. It might be hers. You're not taking it to Owen's. It's a good lamp. You're returning it to Corinne. She has lamps. So did I, until you started moving. The ceramic rooster sat alone on the kitchen windowsill. Nathan picked it up and placed it in the front seat of the truck, wrapping the seatbelt across its chest. "That's insulting," I said. "It has one foot. I'm protecting it." "You didn't buckle the television." "The television can't sue." At 7, Owen arrived in the white warehouse van with 2 coffees and no apparent concern that it was Sunday. He handed one to me. "Decaf." I didn't ask for decaf. "Nathan said you get shaky?" "Nathan lies, frequently." Nathan came out carrying a box marked kitchen, though a golf shoe stuck through one corner. "Owen, please don't encourage him. I'm his employer. Encouragement costs extra." We loaded the truck. The television went against the cab, wrapped in 3 blankets. The lamp went into Nathan's car for eventual return to Corinne. The golf clubs fit beside the bookcase. When we were finished, the truck bed looked like a small apartment had exploded in an organized way. I went inside for my coat. The spare room door stood open. The mattress was bare, except for a wire hanger. Pale rectangles marked the carpet where Nathan's boxes had kept the dust away. An empty water glass sat on the windowsill, and one of his socks was under the bed. I picked up the sock. Nathan appeared behind me. I was looking for that. For 8 weeks? I knew it was somewhere safe. He took it. The room already sounded different. Empty rooms have an echo, but this one seemed to hold the shape of noise that had just left. "You ready?" he asked. "Yes." He shifted the sock between his hands. "Dad." "What?" He leaned against the doorframe. "I'm sorry." "For the sock?" "For all of it. That's a large category." "I know." I waited. Nathan did not explain. He did not mention losing his job, Corinne changing the locks, Dana making things worse, or the pressure he had been under. He looked tired and embarrassed and more adult than I was used to letting him be. "I've treated you like a place consequences couldn't find me," he said. I looked at the bare mattress. "Yes. I knew you'd take me in." "Yes. I also knew you'd make everybody stop being angry." "I tried." He rubbed his thumb along a split in the doorframe. "I'm sorry I used that. I wanted to tell him not to worry about it." The words came up like a reflex. I could almost hear myself saying, "You're my son. That's what fathers are for." Instead, I said, "An apology is a beginning. It isn't rent paid in advance for forgiveness." His eyes came up. "That's harsh." "It's true. Can it be both?" "Yes." He nodded. "I don't expect you to trust that I've changed." "Good. That's also harsh. You've had a difficult morning." He laughed. I put on my coat, and we left the room empty. Owen's house was 15 minutes away, on a quiet street lined with bare maple trees. The garage stood behind it, connected by a narrow brick path. A staircase ran up the outside to a blue door. "Studio," Nathan reminded me as we parked. "It is above a garage. Plenty of studios are. Are they usually attached to bald men?" Owen rubbed the strip of hair around his head. "This is an attack on a protected class." The staircase was steep. I carried pillows. The room was better than I expected, and worse than Nathan had implied. It had one large window, a sloped ceiling, and a brown carpet that looked permanently damp, even though it was dry. The kitchenette consisted of a sink, a small refrigerator, and the promised hot plate. The bathroom door did not close unless lifted by the handle. "You can reach the toilet from the bed," I said. Efficient. A strip of painter's tape on the floor separated the living area from what Owen called the dining space. "Is that official?" I asked. "Building code," Owen said. We made 9 trips up the stairs. By the 5th, my hip had begun to ache. Nathan took the box from my hands without comment and gave me a lampshade instead. I accepted the exchange without informing him I could manage. The television fit against the low wall. The bookcase went beside the window, after Owen found a piece of wood to level it. Nathan placed the framed photograph of Corinne on the second shelf. He considered turning it face down, then left it as it was. The ceramic rooster went on top. "Looks good," I said. "It looks terrible. It always has." Owen brought up a folding table and 2 chairs from his garage. One chair was blue and one was orange. "I charge extra for matching," he said. Nathan set his new brass key on the table. By 11, the place had begun to resemble somewhere a person could stay, rather than somewhere a person had been sent. The boxes still occupied half the room, but the bed was made. Coffee cups were in the cabinet. Nathan's work boots sat neatly by the door. Owen checked his watch. "I'm going downstairs. If you two cry, keep it quiet. The garage has poor insulation." Nathan threw a roll of paper towels at him. Owen caught it and took it with him. I stood beside the window. From there, I could see the roof of Owen's house, 3 backyards, and the top half of a church steeple. Nathan opened the refrigerator. "There's nothing in here. That's common in a place you moved into 20 minutes ago. I should have brought the turkey sausage. It's mine. You didn't buy it. I paid for it." He shut the refrigerator. "I'll come by after work Tuesday and get the lamp to Corinne." "Good." "Not because you told me. I don't care why." He put both hands in his pockets. "You going to be okay alone?" The question irritated me. Then I realized he was allowed to ask it. "Yes." "You sure?" "No." He looked surprised. "The house will be quiet," I said. "I got used to you being there. You complained about every sound I made. I also heard them." Nathan looked toward the framed photograph. "You could call Dana. You could mind your business." There he is. I picked up my coat. At the door, he hugged me. Nathan had always hugged like a man catching someone who might fall. One arm hard around the shoulders, hand flat against the back. This time, he held on an extra second. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome." I walked down the stairs carefully. When I reached the bottom, Nathan called after me. "Dad." I looked up. "Dana texted this morning." "What did she say?" He took out his phone and read it. "Good luck with the move." The chicken was good. The green beans were dead before they reached my plate. I smiled. "What did you answer?" "Thank you." "Nathan's Fine Dining opens next month. Did she respond?" "She said she'd call the health department." "That's promising. It's a threat. In this family, same thing." He went back inside. I drove home alone in my truck. The gas tank was still full because Nathan had filled it the night before. I almost resented him for removing the final reason to lecture him. At home, I put the turkey sausage in the freezer. I stood in the kitchen and listened. No television upstairs, no cabinet doors, no alarm going off until I wanted to throw something at the ceiling. The ceramic rooster was gone from the windowsill, leaving behind a clean oval in the dust. The silence felt peaceful for 6 minutes. Then, it felt like silence. I cleaned the spare room, I stripped the mattress pad, vacuumed the carpet with the machine Dana had bought, and found 2 quarters and a pretzel beneath the dresser. The vacuum headlights caught every mark Nathan had left. When I finished, the room looked almost exactly as it had 8 weeks earlier. I did not feel restored. On Tuesday evening, Nathan came for the lamp. He called first. He returned my screwdriver, borrowed a different screwdriver, and left with the lamp strapped into his back seat. His work shirt was dirty. He looked tired. "Have you eaten?" I asked. Owen ordered sandwiches. "Good, I could stay." "No, I mean for dinner, I know." He grinned. "I'll call you," he said. "Do that." At the end of the driveway, he stopped. Corinne said, "I can bring the lamp Thursday." "That's good. She didn't invite me inside. That's her decision, I know." He got in his car. Thursday afternoon, my phone rang. Dana. I looked at her name until the 3rd ring, then answered. "Hi, are you home?" "Yes. Can I come over?" The question was so ordinary I nearly missed what it contained. "Yes. I'll be there in 20 minutes." She arrived in 18 but remained in her car until the full 20 had passed. When she came to the door, she knocked. Dana stood on the porch holding a white bakery box from Bellini's. "I brought dessert," she said. "What kind?" "You know what kind." I let her in. She placed the box on the kitchen table and opened it. Coconut cream pie. Toasted coconut, real whipped cream, crust that broke cleanly. "Whole pie?" I asked. I didn't know how long the conversation would be. That's threatening. So, I've been told. I made coffee. Dana took plates from the cabinet but waited for me to cut the pie. I gave her a smaller piece. She traded it for mine. "Some things don't change," I said. "Some things need portion control." We sat. She ate 1 bite, put down her fork, and looked toward the empty space on the windowsill. "Did Nathan take the rooster?" "Yes." "Why?" "It belonged to him. It belonged to Corinne. He tried to throw it away. That rooster has caused more honest conversation than most counselors." I drank my coffee. Dana folded her hands in her lap. "I drove past Sunday," she said. "Here?" "Yes." "What time?" "Around 7:30. We were eating." "I know." "You saw Mark's car?" "Yes." "Why didn't you come in?" "I wanted you to come out." "I didn't know you were there." "I know." She looked at the pie. I sat at the end of the street for 10 minutes, feeling angry that you weren't chasing someone you couldn't see. That sounds tiring. It was. I waited. She noticed. You're doing it again, she said. What? Going quiet. I'm listening. Those aren't always the same thing. I nodded. Then I'll tell you what I'm thinking. She waited. I missed you. Her face softened. I missed you too. I wanted you at the table. I know. I was angry you didn't come. I know. I also understood why. You don't have to make it easy for me. I'm not. The green beans were terrible. She laughed, then pressed her lips together as if the laugh had betrayed her. After a moment, she said, When you had surgery, I was terrified. I know. No. Let me finish. I did. I was terrified, and I was useful. Every day you needed something I knew how to do. I made lists. I talked to the nurses. I learned which chair you could stand up from. I slept with my phone under my pillow, and if you called, I knew exactly who I was. She looked at her hands. Then you got better. You started driving again. You stopped asking me to come every day. I should have been happy. But I felt fired. I did not smile. Dana's eyes filled. I told myself you still needed me. I started looking for proof. The refrigerator, your medicine, the vacuum. Nathan, you were right about the vacuum. That's not helping. Sorry. She wiped her cheek. I kept treating worry like authority, she said. And at Bellini's, when I said you were too old to decide, I heard myself. I just couldn't take it back with everyone sitting there. You could have. I know. I put my fork down. I let you take care of me because I needed it, I said. Then I kept letting you because I liked it. I liked knowing you would always come. I complained about being managed, but I enjoyed never being alone. Dana looked at me. I waited until you crossed the line before I admitted I'd helped draw it. You were hurt. I was also cowardly. She reached across the table. This time, neither of us covered the other's hand. We met in the middle and held on. Do you think Nathan will keep changing? She asked. I don't know. Do you trust him? Sometimes. That's not very comforting. It's the truth. She nodded. For once, uncertainty sat between us, without either of us trying to organize it. Dana took another bite of pie. What do you want to do for Christmas? She asked. Not, we're having Christmas at 6. Not, I've already told Mark. A question. I looked at her. She kept her eyes on me and did not suggest an answer. I want dinner here, I said. I want you and Mark. I want to invite Nathan. Corinne can decide for herself. Dana's fingers tightened around her fork. I waited. She breathed out slowly. I don't know if I can act like everything is normal. Don't. What do I do? Come angry if you're angry. Leave if you need to. Just don't make me choose who has permission to sit at my table. She looked at the coconut cream between us. All right, she said. I'll come. Then she reached for the coffee pot and stopped. Do you want more? Yes, I said. Dana poured it and put the pot down. I finished my dessert. This time, neither of us disappeared.